Are we live? Oops. Don't do that. We don't want to do that. Let's lock this in. Let's lock. I think we're live. Hey, everybody. Let me just move this kind of over here. See how that kind of looks. Let me check YouTube here and see who shows up, if anybody. Let's see. Let's see who's going to show up today. All right. We have one channel up and running, I think. Excellent live stream connection according to this. Let's see how this all looks. Let's see. We got one. We got two. Let's check our chat room. Let's see if anybody's here. Hey there. Okay. Well, let's see who shows up today on a good old holiday weekend. If anybody. Hey, Martin, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Let me know if the audio is okay and if the video is okay, would you please? That would be very helpful. If you could do such a thing, how does it look? How does it sound? Hopefully, it sounds better than it did the last time we tried to do this and the audio was giving us all kinds of problems. But today it looks like YouTube is behaving. So let's see how that sounds. Let me know how it sounds. We'll wait for some people to show up. If anybody's out there today, or are people, hey Ian, what's going on, buddy? I don't know if people are out there today or if everybody is enjoying the last days of summer. Hope you're all doing well. Good audio and good video. For now, knock on wood, Ian, because last time it didn't work out like that. So we're going to have to see how it works out. YouTube last time was having some difficulties. So I was hoping that this time it'll go much smoother. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. Hopefully get some extra time off. Maybe get some extra time in your studio to create your music. That would be really cool. I got a bunch of, we're on two channels today too. We're on the Home Recording Made Easy channel and the Mixing Music Analog channel. So I can kind of update everybody on what we're doing as far as new video content and all of that stuff. So hopefully some people will roll in and we'll chat for a bit. And, as always, I'm here for you guys if you need me. Let me see what else we got here. Just want to make sure we don't have too much of a delay here on YouTube. So let me know, guys, what have you been doing in your studios? What projects are you working on? Do you have anything cool that you're doing? What are you doing? Tell me what you guys are doing. That way, I'm always interested to know what you guys are doing as I try to get myself situated here. JH, how are you? Good to see you. Happy Labor Day weekend to you. Thanks for joining. Let me know if everybody coming sees the audio or hears the audio okay and if the video is okay. Ian says it's good. We'll see. Let me know what you're doing in your studio. What are you working on? Hey, Jeremy, what's going on? Good to see you, pal. People will start rolling in. I was a little, not afraid, but just wondered on a holiday weekend, and at least here on the East Coast, it's beautiful outside. If the weather's good, are people going to be hanging around the house at 1:20 on a Saturday, or are you guys going to be out and about? And would anybody even be here? Let's keep just checking our YouTube channels here, make sure everybody is here. So let me know what you guys are working on in your studio. What frustrations are you having? What things are you working on? Martin says he's selling gear to pay off bills. Oh, I've been there, my friend, more times than I'm willing to admit. Okay, Jeremy, thank you. Video and the audio are both good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's great. Yeah, believe me, I've been there more times than I can count as far as selling gear to pay bills. As a matter of fact, I have a few things that are going up for sale probably in the next week or so. Some just stuff hanging around the studio I haven't used in a lot of years. And I'm sure, like a lot of you, I have a storage shelf just, with a bunch of crap on there that I haven't used or didn't like the way it worked or got tired of it or whatever. I'm trying to get rid of some of that stuff too. Ray says, hey, Ray, writing tunes in Studio One. Nice, brother. You're contemplating Studio One. Oh, are you trying Studio One out for the first time, Ray? And you're just getting into it? On Home Recording Made Easy, on that YouTube channel, I have a couple of part 1 and part 2 of a beginner songwriting series that I did on YouTube. If you haven't seen those already, part 3 will be coming in the next couple of weeks. The video's already done, and we're going to continue on with some of that stuff. But are you just trying out Studio One for the first time? And if so, how do you like it? And let me know here in the chat, what DAWs are you guys using? I always assume that most of my followers use Studio One. I did a poll a few years ago, and at that time, the people that, voted in or answered the poll or participated, most people were Studio One users. I'm always curious to know what DAW you guys are using. Let's Groove 22. How you doing, pal? Recorded and mixing a drum solo. Excellent. Good for you, brother. Excellent. Very, very good. Glad to hear it. So yeah, let me know in the chat, what DAWs are you guys using? Okay, we got 7 people here on Mixing Music Analog, and we got about 15 people here on Home Recording Made Easy. Nice. Okay, good. So we'll let people file in. We'll spend a few minutes here, and then I'll get onto my little list of stuff and tell you about the videos that have already been recorded, that are already scheduled for YouTube on both channels, so you know what's coming and what to expect. I'm doing now, 1 video a week on each channel. Every Tuesday is the new video for Mixing Music Analog. Every Friday is the new video for Home Recording Made Easy. Tortilla Man says he's working in Melodin. What's that? Melodyne? Is that what you meant to write? Martin says Cubase and Ableton Live. Cool. I have Cubase Pro 12 and I have Ableton, both great DAWs. Ray says, thank you. I should put your comments on the screen. Why aren't I doing that? Thank you for the Fader Port 16 tutorials. You're very welcome. Hopefully they're helping. I hear through the grapevine, but I don't know how true it is, that there's a new fader port being designed. A new fader port and a new Studio Live. Don't know when that stuff's coming out. Don't know if it's coming out this year, but it would not surprise me if we saw a new fader port coming in the next 12 months. Wouldn't surprise me. Jeremy says, still deciding between Pro Tools and Studio One. Yeah, I was a Pro Tools user for many years. Studio One to me is way more intuitive, a way better DAW than Pro Tools. But people that use Pro Tools love it. But as far as workflow, intuitiveness, support, community training, there's no better DAW than Studio One. But if you're someone new to Pro Tools, or if you're choosing between Pro Tools and Studio One as your first DAW, I would tell you Studio One all the time, every time. But if you're coming from Pro Tools, sometimes it's hard for people to break because they're so used to Pro Tools. And I was used to Pro Tools for years. I used it for 10 years. So I know Pro Tools, once you're used to it, it's hard to switch DAWs. Let's Groove says he uses Studio One, complete, total, try anything. Mixing this drum solo, total experiment. Cool, man. Yeah, experiment. Best thing you could do is experiment. Hey, Bruce Key 88, good to see you, my friend. GeoBell, my frustration is finding good tutorials on Studio One. Really? Go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, my friend. You have all of my tutorials, you said. Okay, great. And they are the best. I seem to compare all others to your standards. Thanks for all you do. Okay, great. Yeah, I was going to say, you're having a hard time finding tutorials. I have all the tutorials you need, but you have them all. What other tutorials do you need in Studio One? Tell me what else you need beyond the ones I already have there. John 415, how are you, brother? Says he's in Pro Tools. Great. Ken wants to know, is anybody using Performer? I've never used it. I don't know if anyone else here in the chat is. Brian says he has both. It's so hard to break. It is. I know. It's hard to leave your DAW when you've been using it for so long. But if you're a Studio One user like Geo is here, Geo Bell, and you're looking for more tutorials beyond what I have, tell me what they are. Now, I will tell you there's going to be a tutorial on songwriting and production probably early next year. It's gonna kind of pick up where the Recording in Studio One Made Easy course that I currently have available on the site, where that left off. And we're going to get beyond the very basics, beginners, and move into more, here's how you use it from a songwriting perspective. So some of the things that you're seeing on YouTube at Home Recording Made Easy, those kind of songwriting tutorials or kind of song production videos, it'll be in that kind of style, just so you know. So it's coming. And you know, again, I see someone else says, Mark says he just picked up Studio One. Awesome. So here's what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to put in the chat. Oh, and by the way, I'll tell you this now because I love you guys and you're my little fan club here. First of all, I'm going to put a link in the chat. Hold on. For all the Studio One courses here. And I'm going to tell you a secret that nobody's supposed to know until Monday. What do you think it is? Let me put this in the chat first. Hey, Danny. Good to see you, brother. So in the chat room at Mixing Music Analog, you'll see, or I wonder if that's going to go in both chat rooms here on both YouTube channels. I left a link in the chat. Let me just see here. Yep, it's there. Yes, it's there. That is the training course page at Home Recording Made Easy for all the Studio One courses I have available. Here's what I'm going to tell everybody. Starting Monday, actually, you can use it right now if you'd like. Starting Monday, next week, we're going to do our 50% off everything Labor Day sale. You can use, I think it's Labor50 is the coupon code. Let me double check that. I think it is Labor50. If you use that at checkout, it'll take 50% off. You can use that right now. It will work, but the emails don't go out to everybody till Monday. So because you guys are here, I don't want to see you pay full price. Go get 50% off. Labor50, Labor50. Put that in at checkout. It'll take 50% off anything on the website, any training course, including the mixing masterclass and both hybrid mixing courses. Okay. So you can check that out. So if you're someone that's new to Studio One, like Mark says, awesome. And you need some training to get up and get running, Mark, check the link I just put in the chat. Go out to that page. If you're brand new, pick up the beginner's guide. And then there's either recording in Studio One or mixing in Studio One, depending on what you're looking to do first. And you can get them all at 50% off. Okay. So go do that. Labor50. Okay. So there you go. Let me scroll back up here and answer some more questions. Now I'll tell you about all the videos that are coming. Let's see here. Ray says, I love Studio One, was in Pro Tools, Studio One. You're a Studio One veteran, 3 to 4 years now. Cool. Of course, there's a new fader port coming, my fader port 24. Ooh, I don't know about I don't know. I don't have any inside information necessarily. I've heard some unofficial information. There's some stuff being done, but I don't really know enough to talk about it. But the fader port needs an upgrade. It does. It's a good product, but it needs an upgrade. So yeah, and as soon as that comes out, I'm going to reach out to PreSonus, try to get one in here, do a bunch of videos for you guys like I did on the other fader port. So you guys can, could get an opinion on is it worth upgrading or not. But yeah, you've been in Studio One for 3 or 4 years. That's great. Awesome, man. You're welcome, Brian. No problem. Check it out, brother. Gio says, I love your tutorials, but I also like to find alternative to yours that do the same things. Don't waste your time. Stop watching a bunch of training videos. All you got to do is watch the ones you got, brother. You don't have to go watch a bunch. You're not going to find a more complete set of training tutorials on PreSonus than what I've provided. I tease. Now, you can go out and check out whatever you want. There's a lot of great instructors out there. But don't spend all your time buying courses. Actually use the courses that you have, right? That's what you want to do. Or you'll spend your whole time looking for training and you'll never actually get to the training. Brian says, fader port over the SSL. Oh, you mean the UF8? I don't know. I mean, I have a UF8 right here in the console. Right now, the SSL, I feel this is better than the fader port for sure. But I don't know what the new fader port's going to come out with. And again, I did videos on the channel on Home Recording Made Easy doing the UF8. I think out of all the 8-channel DAW controllers I used, this is the one I like the most, but it's also the most expensive, so they all of them are good. They'll all work. It just depends on your workflow, what DAW you use and how it works with that particular DAW, and then what your budget is. But any of them are good. The Behringer X touches were fine. The fader port PreSonus is fine. The Icon QCon Pro X is fine. It really is. This one I tend to like the best, personally. But they all do the same thing. It's just a matter of what you want to spend and what your workflow is like. Audio Sound Doctor. What's up, brother? Have you ever tried Crockel's Reaper? No. Nope. I know people that use it. Love Reaper. I've never used it. When will we get some jazz to mix? That would be great. Well, if, Danny, MME mixingmadeeasy.net, there's a jazz track coming before the end of the year. I've already done it. I forget what month it's in though. There is some jazz. There is some jazz. And if you guys want to do more jazz, we'll do more. Usually at mixingmadeeasy.net, as you know, I do every genre of music, and I normally do 1 or 2 jazz tracks per year. And then I'll also throw in kind of a big band track, which I did, I think, in December. I've already created the content for the rest of this calendar year. So there's a jazz track coming, like a fusion jazz, and then there's like a big band, which it's kind of big band jazz-ish, if you will. So you're going to have some of that. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's groove. Will you start recording on the SSL at some point? There's no plans, really. I'm a mixing studio. I'm not a recording studio. I did a couple of videos where I did some drums through the SSL. Those videos weren't really popular. Not many people watched them. So I really have no reason. I didn't buy this to record on. I'm a mixing engineer. I don't do any recording as far as I don't bring clients in or anything like that. So yeah, I really have maybe at one point, maybe we'll do some content, but there's no plans, not in the immediate future anyway. Not before the end of this year, for sure. Not before the end of this year. You're welcome, Brian. You're very, very welcome. Okay, make sure everybody hits the thumbs up if you would. And if you want to support the channel, hit the super thanks. It's always very kind of you. Let me see. Okay, we got some people checking out the channel here. And let me tell you about some of the things on the channel, some of the videos coming up so you guys know about what's coming. Oh, hey, David S.J., what's up, my friend? How are you? Hope you're doing good, brother. Good day. What is your take on Flock Audio Digital Patch Bay? Great technology. I like it. I've never used it. I actually had a meeting with Flock Audio probably 6 months ago. They reached out to me to do some stuff with them. But for this particular rig, with all the patch bays I have, they couldn't give me enough Flock Audio patch bay to set up this system. It was going to cost like 25 grand. So we didn't move forward, obviously, but I think it's a great technology. But there's a couple of things that I worry about with it, and I have no information or no proof or any basis to say this other than this is what comes to mind. I don't know anyone that's had any problems with them, but I don't know many people that have them either. Most larger format studios like this that use consoles and lots of outboard gear use the regular old style patch bays because number one, the Flock Audio is super expensive. Yes, it does eliminate all the patching, cabling. That's really cool. But I always worry about, they're electronics, they're computers in a box. They go down, your whole studio's down. I worry about that, number one. Number two, they haven't been around long enough. Number three, I've looked, and unless something has changed recently, I was looking to see on YouTube, does any large studio like this, like, with a full console, some racks of gear that has like 4 or 5 regular patch bays, does anyone of this size studio, has any of those people switched over to Flock Audio? And if they have, what's their experience? Haven't been able to find anybody. Most people that have the Flock Audio have a very limited amount of gear. They're not using a console. And so I don't know of anyone that's used it in this particular workflow. They're really more hybrid, not truly analog. So I'm sure it would work great, but the reason why people don't do it is it's just super expensive. But I think it's a great technology, and I think they came up with a solution that solves an older problem, but I just don't have any experience with it to know how does it hold up over time. I also know that some of the larger units that have like 96 points in and out, I've heard they have lots of fans in there to keep them cool, and they're noisy. So you don't really want them in the room where you're kind of working. But that's only what I've heard. I don't have any experience with that. So yeah, that's my thing on Flock Audio. Ray says, what is Studio One Plus about? So Studio One Plus is what used to be known as Studio PreSonus Sphere, if you ever heard of that, Ray. And basically what that is, it's a monthly / annual membership where you don't have to buy the software outright. You can pay a monthly or an annual fee. And not only do you get the latest version of Studio One and all the updates, and every time the new version comes out, you get it for part of your membership, but you also get everything else that comes along with Studio One, all the sound libraries, all the VST instruments, all the additional plugins that would normally be paid for if you just bought the software. And that's really what it is. So I think the pricing is somewhere around maybe $16 or $18 a month. Or if you pay for a whole year, it's a little bit cheaper, and that's what it is. So if you're someone who always wants to upgrade to the latest version of your DAW, if you're someone that wants the professional version of Studio One with all the sound libraries, the virtual instruments, and all of that stuff, then Studio One Plus could be something you may want to consider. Some people like the subscription model because you can cancel at any time and you don't have to buy the software all up front. Some people hate it because when you're on the subscription, if you let your subscription run out and you stop paying for it, then you don't have access to Studio One anymore, and therefore you can't open up your sessions and all of that. So it really depends on what your feeling is about that. But that's what Studio One Plus is all about. Hey, Eagles Rage, what's up, my friend? Good afternoon. For some reason, YouTube hasn't been giving me your live notifications. Really? To any of your past streams. Finally was able to make it back here. Oh, did you get it today? I know it came on my phone and people must have gotten it or else they wouldn't know I was here. So I'm glad it was, I don't know what's up with that. That's kind of weird. Sheriff's Vlogs. Hey, Sheriff's Vlogs. How are you? Is there any recent news or anything new about Dolby Atmos? You know, the Dolby Atmos thing, for the most part, since NAMM has kind of quieted down, I haven't heard anything about it. Nobody asks me about it. I do mixes for clients weekly, and nobody has even asked me about a Dolby Atmos mix. Again, like we've talked about in the past, I think it's a format that'll eventually, I think it's here to stay. I think it's an alternative to the stereo mix. I don't think it's going to take over the stereo mix anytime soon. And for all the reasons we've talked about in the past, the biggest one being the end user, the consumer, can't experience a Dolby Atmos mix on a pair of headphones and earbuds because it doesn't sound the same when you do a binaural mix. And so until they have technology where you could put a pair of headphones on or earbuds and get very, very close to what a Dolby mix sounds like when you're sitting in a proper Dolby studio, until that happens, I don't think Dolby is going to be, in music, I don't think it's going to be the new standard. I think there was a bunch of hype at NAMM. There was a bunch of YouTube influencers that were paid lots of money with both money and gear. I know some of them personally to kind of, spout off about Dolby and to really push it. And even at NAMM, although I talked to people at NAMM, it wasn't that big. There was some talk around it, but it wasn't like the talk of the town. And since that time, there's been several videos on YouTube by different creators talking about the things I just talked about and why Dolby, let's not rush down the Dolby road. So I haven't heard much about it. I haven't heard about it at all since NAMM. So, again, I don't know. Will that all change down the road? Maybe it will one day. I don't see it in the foreseeable future, but I could be wrong about that. Danny says for $18 a month, you get everything with Studio One Plus. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Danny. Paul says he's been using it since the beginning. Yeah, it is a great service, and for some people, it makes a lot of sense. For other people, they hate the subscription model. And I understand why. So if you're okay with the subscription model and you just want to, pay your monthly fee and get all the latest updates and everything, then it could be there. You say you were notified for recommended videos versus being bell notifications. Oh, that's weird, man. I don't know why that is. I don't know. maybe you can unsubscribe and then resubscribe and hit the notification bell again. Did you try that? Maybe that'll work. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know how many people we got floating around here on two YouTube channels, but let me tell you about, for both channels here, some of the new videos that are coming on each channel, because most of the videos all the way through Thanksgiving on both channels are done. They're already scheduled and ready to go live. So I'm out way ahead of this on most times. So let me tell you let me just take a look here. I'm going to tell you which videos are coming so you guys know. So let's see, on home recording made easy. Let me just look here. Let me just look at my list of all the stuff that's coming. Yesterday, I think the Neumann MT-48 Part 2 dropped yesterday. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. If you're interested in the Neumann videos, if you're interested in that MT-48, it's a great audio interface. That dropped yesterday. You should go check that out for home recording made easy. We also have Part 3 of the songwriting series that's coming next week. Then the week after that, we have Part 3 of the Neumann MT-48. There's 3 videos in that. Then towards the end of September, we have the last Part 4 of the UF1 by Solid State Logic. We also then have Part 6 and 7 of Universal Audio Luna. That's all coming up. We'll also have another video or 2 on the songwriting series. That'll be coming up. Then we also have a couple of gear demos. One is for some Sennheiser microphones. We're going to be doing some podcasting mic comparisons at home recording made easy for people that ask me about it. And there's a few other things. So those are all the videos that are coming on home recording made easy. When we get to mixing music analog, there's even more videos. Let me take a look at what we got going there. Let me just take a look at the list. There's a long list there. Mixing music analog. And these are all videos that have already been recorded. They're already done and scheduled. Let me tell you what it is. Let me get there. Hold on. So this week, in Mixing Music Analog, David S.J.'s video on some more sample rates and listening tests and deep dive analysis on converters, and that's that thing that came out this week. Next week, there is a video. Oh, we have a video coming out. I got 3 pieces of 500 series hardware from BAE, a couple of EQs and a compressor. Those videos are coming at the end of September, 3 of them. A FET style compressor, a 4-band parametric EQ, and then a 3-band, their 1073 clone or, copy. So that's BAE. That's coming in September. Then we have Dave doing a whole video in a dissertation on a null test. And what does a null test really mean? When we talk about working analog, when we talk about working with plugins in the box, a combination of both. He has a really great video on that for people that want to know about null tests and really don't understand what the null test is and does it really matter and when does it matter and why does it matter and what does it mean and all that stuff. That video's coming in the beginning of October. Then we have 3 videos coming for the Burl B2 Bomber, that converter test. Those will be coming sometime late October. Then we have a video about the West Audio NG Leveler. That video's been done. That video's coming. We have a video on the API 2500 stereo compressor. That video's coming. We have a video on the West Audio NG76, which is the full rack analog 1176. It's all digitally controlled. That video's done. We then are going to do another converter test, probably the last one we're going to do, using that Neumann MT-48 that I just talked to you guys about. We're gonna patch that in on the console, and we're going to do that. So you're going to see those videos. And then somewhere in between there, we're going to do some more POV mixing. You guys really seem to like that. I put a poll up on the Mixing Music Analog YouTube channel and to see what kind of videos you guys want. You guys really like the last little test video I did with the GoPro, so you can see up close You know, you could see mixing with all the different camera angles. They're going to be some of that is coming. So all that is coming on Mixing Music Analog. And that kind of takes us up to Thanksgiving time, pretty much. And that doesn't include any other live streams or anything else. So there's a lot of videos that are already done for Mixing Music Analog. And that doesn't include David S.J. coming back up here and doing 4 or 5 videos with me, which are beyond the videos that I just told you about. So we have enough videos on Mixing Music Analog to get us right through the end of the year. So don't worry, lots of stuff coming. Lots of stuff coming. So that's what's coming. Let's see, let me just scroll down here, see if I missed anything here. Let's Groove said that he knows the studio that had a Dolby Atmos, spent huge amounts of money, no clients can afford it so far. There you go. I think part of what happens in, maybe not so much now, but what happened, like I said, around NAMM's a lot of hype. A lot of people where, you know, again, it's the new shiny thing in the room. Everybody gets excited. The ones that made out the most and the ones that are making out the most on all of this, you know who it is? Speaker manufacturers. They're the ones that are making a killing on all this. People are running out and buying 10, 11, 12, 14 speaker systems. And then the people that make the hardware controllers and the interfaces for all the I/O and all of that, they're making a fortune. And everybody went out there and spent all this money without knowing if there was really going to be a demand for it. I think when you work at, if you're working as a major record label, you know, and you have, you know, A-list clients, you know, big time Grammy, multi-platinum artists, you know, the Taylor Swifts and the Lady Gagas and those kinds of artists, A-listers, right? Yes, a Dolby mix is important to their overall distribution for their fans to cover all the bases. So the big studios that work with those kinds of clients, they need to be set up for Dolby because it's a requirement. Beyond that, in the indie market, in people like me who work with indie artists and weekend warriors and, you know, not working with A-level people, they're not looking for a Dolby mix. For what you just mentioned, Let's Groove, they don't want to pay for it. They don't want to pay for it. So, and again, it's not going to take over the stereo mix. People are on really tight budgets. So unless you're an artist who has, you know, a budget to be able to pay for that. So I think a lot of these studios ran out there to try to be first in line. And again, a lot of it had to do with the fact there was a lot of speaker manufacturers that were sending a lot of YouTube influencers free product to set up their studios, to make this big push. And I think people jumped the gun a little bit. Again, that's not to say it won't be more mainstream down the road. I think it will be one day. I just don't know when. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. 30 kilobeats. Love that, 30 kilobeats. Do you still have the SSL Fusion? Nope, sold it. There was a video on it on the channel over Mixing Music Analog, which I'm sure you might have watched. Nope, it's gone. It's a great box, but I have a different mastering, a different 2-bus chain now. Jacob McBoom. Hey, Jacob, what is your opinions on the Trident consoles? I've never used one. The only one that I know that uses one is Charlie over at Ultimate Studios, Inc. He's a pal of mine, and he swears by it, and he's been using their consoles for probably 7, 8 years, maybe a little longer. He loves them. Personally, I've never used one, so I can't tell you. But if he tells me it's a great console, it's probably a great console. It's one of the only consoles in its price bracket that is kind of very similar to the Origin as far as feature set, the amount of inputs, the amount of EQs, the amount of faders, in the same kind of price bracket. So yeah, my guess is it's a really good console, but I've never used one. If I'm not mistaken, DistroKid has a box to check if your song was mixed in Dolby Atmos or not. Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe you might be right. I have no idea. Well, I mean, people at home, you can do a Dolby mix using the binaural. You know, you can do one. Anybody can supply a Dolby file and they could do it in headphones on that binaural mix. I'll just tell you that, and go do the research. I haven't heard a person yet that says a binaural mix sounds like a real Dolby mix. It doesn't. It just doesn't. But you can supply the file if the distribution streaming platform or whoever requires that Dolby file. You can do it. But is it going to sound great? I don't think it does. But yeah, I don't know. JVF, music turn. What's this? Music turn out to waste time playing the teach and not focusing in music. Okay. I hear you. Sheriff says that Dolby added head tracking to their Dolby render. Oh, cool. Doesn't sound like a Dolby mix. If you've ever sat in a Dolby room and listened to a Dolby mix in a properly set up room and then listen to something on a head tracker and headphones, it's not even in the same hemisphere. It's not. It's not. So if you have an opportunity to go sit in a Dolby room and really listen to a Dolby mix, it is a pretty cool experience. I will say it was cool. But I don't know that it works with every style of music either. I don't know. I don't know. A strange, mysterious podcast. How are you? Can you do a comparison between Focusrite Scarlett versus high-end converters? Since Focusrite Scarlett is used by a lot of people, that would be a good one. No, we're not going to do one, and we're not going to, no. And the reason why I say that is because we're already doing, again, I don't know what channel you're watching from, Mysterious Podcast, but if you go to Mixing Music Analog, I've done now 4, and we're about to do a 5th converter test against the PreSonus Quantum converters. Those are going to be in the same price bracket, ballpark quality as anything Focusrite puts out or anything that Motu puts out. So, yeah. So there's no reason for me to go get a Focusrite Scarlett converter. I'll just say again, what I've learned so far, and I haven't did the Neumann yet, but what I've learned so far, if you watch any of my videos, my opinion, there's really not that much of a difference between high-end converters and your Focusrite converters. Your converters and your Focusrite are just fine. Your converters and your PreSonus interface are just fine. Your converters in your Motu are just fine. Your converters in fill in the blank of the audio interface, your universal audio interface, are just fine. 99.99999% of the people that are watching this and listening to my voice, your problem is not your converter. It's not. Now, you can go read about all the hype on YouTube, and there are people that even watched our videos that completely disagree. They can swear they hear a difference between the boxes. I don't hear the difference. Most people don't hear the difference, or enough of a difference, I should say. And, the more professionals that I talk to in this industry all say the same thing. It's a lot of it is marketing hype. It is. But some people are convinced the converter is the difference. I haven't heard a box yet where that was the case. So the answer to your question is no, I'm not going to go get a Focusrite to do it because I've already done it with the PreSonus. And if you watch those videos and if you feel that the PreSonus Quantum sound and the files sound as good as the Neve, as the universal audio, as the dangerous music coming up the burl, then you could be pretty comfortable knowing that if you go buy a Focusrite interface, your converters are going to sound just as good. Hey, Nick, how are you? What kind of mixing consoles do you have in front of you? This is an SSL, Solid State Logic Origin. You should go look at Mixing Music Analog, the YouTube channel. We have a whole channel based around this console and this workflow. You must be new here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Benji the Frick Drummer Benjamin. I love it. I love that name. Hi, I really appreciate your insight. What headphone distribution would you recommend? It's 20 feet to a live room coming from a Focusrite 18i20 USB-C. I've used a couple of different headphone distribution boxes and they all worked fine. I used to use the 6-channel one from PreSonus. I want to say it's called the HP6, maybe. That might be right. That was really good. I've used, what was the other one? Oh, and I even used I think it was an ART one as well. And that was fine as well. They were loud enough for recording, for referencing stuff. They sounded fine to me. They weren't very expensive. That's what I would recommend. I'm sure there's higher quality ones. Again, I think Neve makes one. There's some higher quality ones that you could spend a ton of money on. I just don't know that you need to do that. So those are the ones that I've used, and they were fine. When I was tracking bands back in the day, I used more or less the PreSonus. I want to say it's the HP6. It's a rack-mounted unit with 6 headphone in and outs with all separate mixes. And those were fine for all the clients I used. No one ever complained about them not being loud enough or anything like that. So, yeah. Dave says he's going to sell his Fusion by the end of the year. So if anybody wants a Fusion, hit Dave up in the chat. Where he says he's old enough to remember when quad sound was the new thing, crashed and burned in about 18 months. Yep. But here's the difference with quad. And I said that too early on, but here's one of the main differences with quad, the way I understand it. And again, I'm not an expert in this stuff. With quad, if you didn't have all the right speakers and you were listening to a quad mix, and let's say just a stereo mix, whatever speakers you were missing in your setup, that information that was mixed to those speakers was missing from the mix. So you really had to have a quad speaker setup. With Dolby, the way I understand it, that is not the case. So it's a little different in that respect. But again, I think the thing with Dolby is, even if, because there are now, and there will be more, speaker manufacturers that will make home speakers and wireless speakers and Bluetooth speakers and all of that stuff, and affordable speakers, small size speakers, where you could put 13 speakers in your living room and you can listen to a Dolby mix. That stuff already exists, and it's becoming more and more affordable for the consumer. And that's great. That's great. That means it'll be more widely popular. But here's the other thing that I see that's different from the quad days, Ray, and anyone that's over the age of 40 will understand what I'm about to say. Even if you had an affordable Dolby speaker setup in your living room, how many people today, in today's day and age, with the advent of the phone and earbuds, take the time to sit down in the perfect spot in their living room with all their speakers to listen to a Dolby mix? That's maybe 2% of the population, right? Just like back in the day, and Ray, you're probably as old as I am. You remember the day where we used to sit down with our vinyl records. Remember that? Anyone that's here that's old enough, I know David S.J. is, where you would sit in your living room, listen to your hi-fi stereo. You'd have your album out. You would look at the liner notes and you'd look at the pictures, and you would sit down and you would listen to your record, to your vinyl, right? You'd clean the vinyl. You'd listen to it for 40 minutes. Then you'd get up and flip the record over. It was an experience. Today, with MP3s and downloads and streaming platforms, people don't take the time. People don't have the attention span to do that. Everybody's on the go. Everything is mobile and portable. So therefore, I think that's another thing that hurts the Dolby argument. Yes, for the audiophiles and the audio aficionados and people who love music and have a really cool setup and enjoy sitting down and listening to their music, then it makes sense. But that's not 95 to 98% of the population. And I don't think it's ever going to go back there the way it was back even in the quad days, right? Yes, there is a vinyl resurgence, and I know younger people are buying vinyl, and vinyl's the cool thing again, but it's still only about 5 or 10% of the music population. 95 to 98% of the people listen to stuff on this with earbuds, and they listen to crappy MP3 files. That's the norm today. So I think all of that stuff hurts Dolby. I think all of it hurts. But for people that are really into audiophiles and stuff, Dolby's cool, man. If you're into it, it's cool, right? It's just like Dolby's been around in the music, and not in the music, in the film, right, for years. How many people today sit in their home theaters and watch a Netflix movie? We have speakers all around the room, and you're hearing the explosions and the car crashes. All that stuff is done in Dolby. It's been like that for years, well over 10 years. How many people do that? Most people watch movies and stuff on an iPad, streaming. on a phone with headphones. So that's what I think really kills it. But again, it could change. I think it will change when you can get headphones that give you that experience closer than what spatial audio is. Because spatial audio, that Apple thing it's okay. It's not Dolby. And again, I don't know if that technology, I'm sure eventually it'll be invented, right? Why wouldn't it be? If that ever comes to pass, everything I just said in the last 5 minutes is over. Then Dolby will be the new thing. But until then, I don't see it. Hey, Circuit, how are you, brother? I can't read that name. Anything missing from the MT-48 that could make it even better, software or hardware? If you discussed it in an upcoming video, I can wait. I did discuss it in an upcoming video. I have the last video of the series, which I think comes out in 2 weeks, is my likes and dislikes of it. There are many things about the MT-48 I like. There are a few things about it that I don't like. Is there anything missing? I don't think there's anything missing as far as features go. If you're looking for a small, compact, portable USB-C interface that's high quality, great preamps, great headphone amps in them, I haven't heard a unit like, I haven't come across one that's better than this one. Now, again, I haven't tested every product on the market, certainly, but I do have the Universal Audio Solos. I have those. This blows that away. But it's expensive. It's almost $2,000, right? Most desktop audio, most 2-channel, 4-channel preamp interfaces are $500. This is $2,000. So you gotta compare apples to apples, right? So, it's got a ton of features in it. It's got all the DSP. I think it's a great interface. If you have that kind of budget and you want right now one of the best, I think it's the best in its class, but you're going to pay for it. So I do have a video coming, but there's nothing about it that I dislike where I would say, don't buy it because of X, Y, Z. Except if you don't need all those features, if you don't need to have the highest, best of the best, and you don't have the budget, then that interface is not for you. If you're just doing your home recording one track at a time, and you have a small little studio, if you're buying it because someone told you the converters are going to make all the difference in the world, don't buy it for that. Okay, don't listen to the hype. Again, you're not going to hear the difference between those converters and your little home recordings, any different than you're going to hear from a $500 interface. You're just not. Now, the preamps in the MT-48 are spectacular, ultra clean, ultra high headroom. Okay? But that's different from the converter. They have very good preamps in them. They have very good high quality headphone amplifiers that are not noisy, that can be really super loud, that can drive any set of headphones. So there are some really good things about it. But most people, at least the people that kind of contact me, ask me if they should buy it because of the converter. And as I said earlier, no, that's not the reason to buy this thing. There's a lot of other great features about it, but don't throw away your interface thinking, I'm going to get this interface and all of a sudden everything is going to be so much better. It's probably not the case, but it's a good interface. Hope that answers your question. Oh, 3 questions. Okay, let me get my water. 3 questions. Thoughts on an Orion 32 as a patch bay? 2, are the BNC word clock cables varied in brand quality? 3, is RME Fireface, I think that's what it is, right, versus Orion 32 Gen superior clock? I don't know. Again, I don't use any of those products, so I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that it is because I've never used them for myself. And on our channels here, especially when I'm mixing music analog, we talk about gear. I'm only opinionated about stuff that I've actually put in the studio and heard with my own 2 ears. I've never used the Orion 32. That's Antelope, I believe, right? I know people that use some Antelope products and like the products, but say horrible, horrible things about the software that you need to use that thing. I've never had one person tell me they thought the software was anything other than extremely frustrating. Now, again, I've never used it, so I don't know that is firsthand. That's just information that I've heard. Are the BNC word clock cables varied in brand quality? I have no idea. My gut tells me probably not. But I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that'll say, if you bought a word clock cable that was $150, it's going to be that much better than the one that's $50. I don't believe that, but I have no way to test that to know. So I'm just being honest. Is the RME Fireface and Orion 32 superior clock? No idea. No idea. You may want to talk to someone like at Sweetwater that maybe has more of information, or some maybe salespeople there that have actually used some of the gear you're asking about. I just know that the gear that you've mentioned has a reputation of making high quality pieces, but I've never used it. So sorry I couldn't really be more definitive. I thought Dolby Atmos was mainly for movie theaters. Well, that's where it's always been, but now it's moving into the audio space. At least they're trying to. So basically, somewhere out there, there's someone making Dolby Atmos headphones, possibly. It wouldn't surprise me, man. And believe you me, if there's a pair of headphones out there, like if Apple, Apple's the one that really started this whole crap with this stuff with their streaming platform about people getting all psyched up about Dolby. If they put out a set, they should be the one to put out a set of headphones. And I'll tell you what, if there's any company out there that can actually do it right, it's probably Apple. And if they do it, and if it sounds killer, I'll have me a pair. I'm into technology. I dig it. And I'll have a whole nother opinion about Dolby Atmos. Will that happen? Who knows? My guess is probably. Now, how will they do it, and how will they place the different drivers and the psychoacoustics and all that? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just telling you that it will eventually happen. Don't know if it'll happen anytime in the near future. Right? I don't know. I'm sure if you guys follow Apple, some of you's probably recently seen their new, it's coming out next year, the new $3,500, what is it, their VR, the Vision, whatever they call that thing. I mean, when you look at what that thing is supposedly able to do, it's almost like space age stuff, man. Like, the technology that Apple is on in that respect is like cutting edge. So it wouldn't surprise me if they came out with some set of headphones that gave you that same Dolby sensation. I hope they do. I hope they do. And you're right. It will cost a fortune at first. And then other companies will copy the technology like everything else. And the next thing you know, 10 years from now, you'll be able to buy a pair of Dolby headphones that sound really great for $150. That's what will happen. Let's see. That's what will happen. ML says, Antelope has the best clocking. Okay. RME is known for rock solid drivers. Antelope software is much better now. You have one. Great. Okay. Then see, you got to talk. Here's someone that has one. I don't have one. I've never used it. I only know a couple of people that have talked to me about it, and that's what I've heard. But if the software is better, great. If it's got the best clocking, I don't know how you know what the best clocking is, but if you feel that way or you've done some testing, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. You would know more than me. Oops. Hey, Vinny, how are you? I remember seeing a video of yours going through the Atmos workflow. There was supposed to be part 2. Did you ever come out? No, it never came out. Because I went to do the video and I was so underwhelmed by it, I didn't do it. I was so underwhelmed. I said, this is all, it was to do the headphone thing. There was no reason to do a video. No reason to do a video. I wasn't impressed, even a little bit. So it didn't come out. Danny says they'll drug you every time you put the headphones on. Nothing new under the sun. Hey, okay. All right. We now have AI mastering software that people are praising. Who's people? People on the internet? Maybe there is. I don't know. That's great, I guess. I don't know. So it is great that you are straight up with all your answers and your gear, not pushing product because of the name on it. Yeah, I don't do that here. You may be fairly new here. No, on both of my channels, I don't do that. You only see gear on my channels that I actually really like and use, especially on Mixing Music Analog. All the gear that you see on this channel, I have. It's mine. I own it. Now, there are some pieces that come and go because you guys have asked me about certain products and I was able to get my hands on stuff to try it, like the BAE stuff that's coming up. But yeah, I don't get paid to do video demos or anything like that. So I'm straight up with the stuff that I use. But I can't speak to stuff that other people use, and I'm only one person's opinion. And just because I like or dislike something, you may love it. And that's totally valid and totally cool. I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't care whether you believe me or not. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. And I say that with the utmost respect to all of my audiences. I don't care whether you see one of my videos and run out and buy the gear or not. That's not why I make the video. I make the video because I'm learning about this stuff, especially on the Mixing Music Analog channel. The whole converter thing came up because David, SJ, and I wanted to learn because we heard all the hype that a lot of you guys hear. The converter makes the difference. A converter's a difference, and you need a higher end converter and converter. And I said, okay, well, I don't know if that's really true. Let's try it. And then let's report our findings of what we feel we've learned. Some people agree with those findings. Some people completely disagree with those findings, and that's okay. I'm not here to try to convince you one way or the other. I'm just here to tell you what I learned and what I know from being hands-on, but I'm only one person's opinion. What I tell most people to do about gear is you should go out and buy it yourself and try it for yourself. Go out and do the A/B comparison for yourself. Don't listen to people on YouTube that tell you all the marketing hype, and just because a famous engineer told you something that's gospel. Because 8 out of 10 times, these people are being paid to tell you that stuff. They're being paid to sell you gear. I don't do that. So you're very welcome. And that's what I think makes us a little different, which is one of the reasons why I get all the hate mail that I get, because people don't like that. And that's okay. Back in the day, we had to argue over a pair of stereo speakers in the living room. Guess what happens if we'll try the same thing with multi-channel systems? Yeah, right. That's right. And it's so subjective, right? Speakers especially. It's so subjective, right? You know, everything sounds different, and what sounds good to you may not sound good to me, and vice versa. Nobody's right or wrong. It's just what you like. In a mastering context, still high-end gear analog is superior sound-wise to plugins. Well, I would say not just in the mastering context, in the mixing context as well. And I learned that from starting this channel in setting up this whole new workflow. I didn't think when I first got into this that it was going to really sound that much better than plugins, because I've been teaching how to mix in the box of plugins for 10 years. And I think you can get great mixes with plugins. And I didn't think it was going to sound that much different. I was wrong. It sounds way different than plugins. And anyone that tells you differently is either never really done it for themselves and they don't have firsthand experience, which is 85% of what you read on the internet, or they're people that are there trying to sell you something. Because anybody that really works with both technologies and both workflows on a weekly basis knows there's a difference. Doesn't mean it's better. It's different. And whether you think it's better or not is different. That's different for everybody. So I would agree with you in the mastering realm. I would also agree with you in the mixing realm. But I didn't think that when I first started out on this quest. Let's see. Sheriff Log says, it's the same with film. Some people say Atmos sounds bad in a theater, but because the audio is louder and it sounds better to most people. There was someone talking about how loud cinemas run audio. Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. Oops. The real story on converter chips is that they're either made by KVM or ESS, okay? Most of the chips are consumer grade. There are high definition chips that are used in high-end gear like the MT-48. Okay, I mean, again, I'm not going to try to convince you, because no matter what I say to you, or anybody, not just you, no matter what I say, no matter who I've said I've talked to and gotten, no matter what I say, it's not going to change your mind. So you're convinced of that. That's okay. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you believe, then awesome. Then you should own an MT-48 or something similar to that, because that makes the difference for you and your particular rig. If that's what you believe, no problem. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I've yet to heard a converter that was that much different from another converter where I would sell my interface based on the converter. Not yet. Maybe one day I'll be proven wrong, but not yet. Another thing about streaming in 4K Blu-ray disc for Atmos, there are a lot of people complaining about how bad Disney Atmos mixers, and I think that the problem is a lot of big studios are mixing on the lowest common denominator. Bluetooth speakers, soundbar. Yeah, I mean, that's all valid. That's all valid. That's all point taken. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're right about that. I don't know. Again, most people are mixing music for the lower quality consumer grade speakers and speaker playback systems, because that's what most people have. Most people don't have real high-end speaker systems. So because of that, that makes sense to me, right? But I don't know. You could be right. You could be right. Let's see, we still floating around here on YouTube? Let's see how many people we got watching. Thanks so much for joining me and hanging out. Just wanted to tell you about all the videos that we have coming up here. Okay, we got a bunch of people on one channel, a bunch of people on the other channel. This is pretty good. Pretty good. Stream seems to be running good. Yeah, so one of the other things we have coming up, and this is going to happen at Home Recording Made Easy, but it'll pertain to the people that kind of watch the Mixing Music Analog channel, is I'm developing a new kind of a mixing course challenge contest thing that'll be more open to the public. Currently, the only way you can be part of, being involved in my mixing community is at mixingmadeeasy.net, where you have a membership every month. You get a new multi-track. Every month we have a mixing contest. I give away plugins. And some of you here today are part of that community and have been for a long time. But a lot of people don't want to be a part of a membership. They don't want to have to pay a monthly subscription, and they don't have time necessarily to mix a new song every single month and submit their mix to a contest or some kind of a giveaway. So I'm developing something where with one of my colleagues and students and producer and friends, his name is Brandon Van Allen. You guys have seen him on Mixing Music Analog. We've mixed some of his music together. One of the hybrid mixing courses was featured one of his songs. He's been working with me, and we're going to develop, we're probably going to do it quarterly, I think, to start, where we're going to have, it's going to be called the Cover Song Mixing Challenge, right? Where Brandon we picked some very popular cover tunes, different genres of music, from different decades. And we're going to have where he's actually produced the whole song from start to finish, drums, bass, guitar, vocals, everything that's involved. And Brandon's really, really good at copying and covering tunes. It's actually kind of scary how good he is. It's actually like, wow, it almost sounds like the original record. We're going to be able to provide those multi-tracks to people along with a video course, a mini course on how I mix that stuff, both in the analog domain as well as with plugins in the box. That'll be a course that you'll be able to purchase. You'll be able to get the multi-track files, and as part of your purchase, you're automatically included if you want to submit your mix to the mixing contest. And we have some couple of companies that are already stepped up that are going to help sponsor some prizes. People like Sweetwater, people like Kit Plugins, in talks with a couple of hardware companies. And we're going to have a mixing contest where you'll have about a month, maybe 6 weeks to mix the song yourself, send it in. Brandon and I are going to pick the top 3 winners. We'll have like a first, second, third place in different prizes for each one of those. And it'll be really cool. And it'll be super popular music, songs that everybody knows that you've heard on the radio a million times over the years. And it'll be something really different. And that'll be something that'll be available at Home Recording Made Easy coming up by the end of the year. We're just starting now. More stuff to come. You're going to hear more about that, but I think you guys will really like it. And then what's great about this is if you don't like the song that we're featuring that month and you don't want to mix that one, you don't have to pay anything. You're not part, it's not a membership. You either buy the course, get the files, get all the video training, or you don't. And we're going to make it super affordable for people. We'll probably have a couple of different levels of packages, and we'll include a bunch of free bonuses and stuff. And it'll give you an opportunity to mix some very popular songs that are produced, extremely, extremely well. It's almost like having the original multi-tracks. It's not too far away from that. That's how good Brandon is. So we're going to be starting that soon. So don't worry, more information will be coming in the very near future on that. So if you guys think that's a cool idea, let me know. I'm still fleshing out the details, but I wanted to be able to provide something that's cool, something that you don't have to join a monthly membership, and also give you an opportunity to mix some songs that are very popular where we can use the original song as reference tracks and all that stuff, and give you an opportunity to see how do you mix an analog and how do you mix it with plugins, all inside of the same course. I think that might be kind of cool. So let me know what you guys think of that, but more details to come. But I'm working on some new stuff for you guys. Don't worry. Okay, I got some more stuff here. Yeah, I hear you. Would you do shootouts with non-paired discrete converters? No, no, man. I'm done. Like I said, and again, I'm half joking. I'm done with the converter thing. We've done now 5 boxes. I don't have access to a Lynx Aurora. Again, if you've been watching me, you hear me say over and over, the converter doesn't make as much of a difference as people think. I've already done the dangerous music, A to D plus. We've already got the quantums. I'm not going to go out and buy every converter box under the sun. We've done more converter comparisons on this channel than anyone else has on YouTube. And if you know of a channel that's done a more in-depth review or comparison on the ones that we've done, send me the link, because I haven't seen one yet. No one even comes close. I'm not going to go get every single product in the world. So what I would say to people is you should go buy the converter, compare it to the one you have, and if you hear a difference, then you should buy it. So yeah, no, that's just not going to happen. We've done enough converters here. It's not going to happen. Sorry. Hi, Digital Space. Regarding your SSL origin, I'm curious, if you switch off the VHD on the preamp, do you find there's enough difference to still do analog summing without the feature switched on? If you switch off the VHD, you mean the THD, is there enough of a difference? I don't switch off the THD. I use it all the time. It's called the pure drive is what Solid State Logic calls it. There is a little bit of a difference. It's not a massive difference, by the way, between the pure drive circuit and the non-pure drive circuit. It's a little bit of compression, a little bit of THD, but it's mild. I don't ever turn it off. I just like the way it sounds. So do I feel there's enough of a difference that I would turn it off but still use the desk for analog summing? Well, yeah, I guess you would. I mean, the console, if you're going to use it as a summer, strictly as a summer, is more than just the preamp. It's all the other electronics, the master section, the whole thing. Again, I don't use this as just a summer. I think that's a big waste of money, personally. But yeah, I mean, I think whether I use the THD circuit on or off, running audio through this console has an impact on the sound. It just does. A huge impact. Doesn't matter which circuit you're using. I hope that answers your question. You're welcome, Bruce88. Gio says you would buy that. Oh, you mean the course? Oh, cool. Yeah, it's going to come out. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It'll be something cool. And you'll have an opportunity to win prizes too, which is really cool. And if that is successful and enough people like that, then Brandon and I have some other ideas of some other things that we can do for courses that will really help you guys more than just mixing and mastering, but also song production and all that stuff. So we have a bunch of ideas, but we're going to start off with the mixing part of it and see if you guys like it or not. I think you'll like it. I think it should be really cool. It'll be really good training, again, that you're not going to find anywhere else. Hi, Derek. How are you? Hey, Dave. First, I'm going through all the HRME courses. Cool. And they're fantastic. Awesome. Thank you for taking the time to put all that together. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for buying them. If you don't buy them, I don't make them. So you guys are the ones that I thank all the time. Without you guys, really eating up the content and buying the courses and supporting what I do here, then there's no Uncle Dave making courses for you. So I'm glad that you're finding them fantastic. I'm trying to, really make them so they're really, really effective and that you get an enormous amount of value for what you pay for them. I still say, there is nobody that sells a course at any price point that gives you the amount of content inside of the course that I give you. Nobody. And most people sell their stuff. You can't find anything for less than $100 or $200 or $300. All of my courses at Home Recording Made Easy are $97. And if you're smart and you wait for the sales, you can buy them for $50, like this weekend. I think I said earlier, if you guys are coming in late, starting Monday, but it's really today, you can use the coupon code LABOR50 and get 50% off anything on the website. And that includes the premium courses. So for some of you cats that wanted to buy the mixing hybrid courses when it first came out, but it was a little outside your budget, you can get it 50% off. So go do it today. LABOR50. That's the coupon code. If you're on my email list, you'll start seeing emails on Monday. The sale doesn't really start till Monday, but the coupon code will work right now, so you can go use it. So I'm trying to help you. But thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. So if you need any more training, go get it today. Hey, Ray. I love the fact that I can find one of your courses for any snags when I'm in Studio One. Thumbs up to you. Great, man. And there's going to be some more Studio One stuff coming. The 3 courses that I have are really for beginners, people who just got Studio One for the first time. Maybe they're coming from Pro Tools or from Cubase or Reaper or one of the other DAWs, and or for people who have never recorded in any DAW before. That's what those 3 courses are for. But I realize, and I've been asked many, 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 many times, can we do like an intermediate kind of stuff now, Dave? We know the beginning stuff. And the answer to that question is yes. There will be a recording course coming up at the beginning of next year that'll pick up where the first one left off. And I'm going to incorporate some of the songwriting tools and the recording stuff to get a little bit more into more the nitty gritty of what Studio One can do. The mixing course may be that as well. So yes, thank you for supporting it. And there are more stuff coming with Studio One. And every time they put out a brand new version, I try to update those courses where it makes sense. So you're getting the latest version of Studio One with training. Hey, Derek, I'm considering DIYing bass traps in my room. Do you have any suggestions on material thicknesses I should use to build them? Yeah, you can use like Corning 703 or rock wool. That's usually the 2 most popular, or mineral wool, the 2 most popular interior of the stuff. How big they should be? Well, bass traps really depends on the side of your room. Anything less than 6 inches in depth isn't really going to be an effective bass trap. I would say all of my bass traps are at least 6 inches deep. Some of them are 8 or 10 inches deep. The deeper the bass trap will go in, the smaller the room, usually the deeper the bass trap that you need, because the low frequencies don't have as far to travel, and you need that depth to absorb those standing waves. So bass problems, bass nulls, bass inaccuracies usually happen in smaller rooms. The larger the room, the less that becomes an issue. But it also depends on what you have in your room, the dimensions of your room, not just width and length, but also height. What materials do you have? So I would say use Rockwell, or you can use Corning 703 that you could buy right from Home Depot or something like that. But I wouldn't do anything less than 6 inches. And I would make sure that they're in all 4 corners of your room, generally speaking, from floor to ceiling, if at all possible. The deeper, the better, the bass trap. Hey, Chris, doing really well. Thank you so much, brother. Hope you're doing well. You still owe me a set of multi-tracks, buddy. Whenever you get to it, send them to me. I'd like to help you out if I can. Let's see. I thought you might be full-time. Your videos are quite in-depth and very helpful and informative. Thank you. A man that has been around the music business. Thanks for your insights. David S.J. No, David S.J. is, he's not full-time in it, but he knows a lot about this stuff. He does. His videos are really good too, the ones that he does with me and the ones he's done on his own channel. So he knows his stuff too. He's a good source, good resource. Let's see. I've been seeing a company called Blue Cat Audio and their patchwork software plugin. Is it possible to route analog to patchwork? Don't know. I know of Blue Cat Audio. Actually, David S.J. might know a little bit more about Blue Cat Audio than I do. I'm not familiar with their stuff. But David S.J. might. Oh, thank you, Gio. Good. Take advantage of the 50% off. Again, you could do it on anything, but especially the premium courses, because those don't sell. Those, we have most of my courses at Home Recording Made Easy, like I said, are $97. There are a few master classes in the hybrid mixing courses that are way more involved, way larger courses. Those sell for several $100s each, and you could get those at 50% off. So even if you feel like maybe you're not ready for those, remember, once you buy it, you own it forever. Take the opportunity to save, and you can watch the course 6 months from now if you're not ready for it yet, but you can save the money today. But thank you, Gio. That's really cool of you. I appreciate it. Thanks. You answered my question about that feature. You're right about not just using it for summing. I find the routing on my Big 6 to make mixing and recording so much easier. Yeah, the Big 6 is a great little mixer. I was supposed to get a Big 6 in here, but SSL decided they didn't want to do it, so we didn't do it. I'd like to try it. I wanted to, because a lot of people ask me about the Big 6 versus the Origin and how's the build quality and does it sound the same? And I tried to get one in here. They wouldn't send it to me. I don't know why. It would have been great promotion for them, because I'm sure it's a fantastic piece of equipment. That Big 6 for $3,000 is probably a great piece of equipment. I mean, it's unfair to compare it to a $60,000 console, but it's got a lot of that same sound and quality, I would think. So yeah, an analog mixer makes mixing easier. At least it does to me. What 500 series chassis do you recommend? I use West Audio, but I've also used AMS Neve, Rupert Neve. I've also used Radial. All 3 of those are fantastic. But there's lots of them out there. The ones, but I haven't used them all. Those are the 3 that I've used. Radial, West Audio, which I have 3 of those currently, and Rupert Neve. Oops. Did I miss I think I missed a comment there. You're welcome, Derek. Anytime. So, yeah, so that's what's going on here. Let's just see, make sure we still got the streams running. Okay, streams look good. Not sure how long we've been on here, but probably about an hour. So that's great. Yeah. So if you guys have just any more course content, video content, you can always hit me up. Let me know what you want. Can't promise you I'm going to do everything. I did a poll on both YouTube channels last week about what kind of content you want to see, and got some pretty overwhelming, areas of people that most people want to see. And we're going to try to create content around that area. One of the things that most people don't want to see are these live streams. It's got one of the least amount of votes in the polls, which is totally understandable. That's why I don't do very many of them. And when I do them now, I do them on both channels at the same time. And I'll do these about once a month, once every 6 or 8 weeks, just to say hi and hang out and tell you about new things that are coming up. But the live streams are not very popular. That's why I don't do them very often. You guys seem to want, I'm mixing music analog. You guys really want to see the POV mixing. That was overwhelmingly the largest response in the poll. And then the second popular topic was more gear demos, which I'm doing as many as I can, but eventually we're going to run out of gear demos to do. We're getting towards the end of that life cycle, but there's still some more to do. So you'll see some for a while, but eventually we're going to run out of gear demos to do. So I'm trying to come up with new content for mixing music analog. So when we get into 2024, I got something to give you guys. So the POV mixing might be really cool. That might be really cool. They really give you guys an insight of, what I'm doing and when I'm mixing, and give you more mixing training, because that's what you guys say you want. So we'll try doing some of those videos. And if you guys like them, I'll continue to make them. And if you don't like them, I'll stop making them. It's really that simple. And home recording made easy. Most people wanted to see, which really surprised me. I thought it would be the songwriting and production. That was the second most popular thing. Most people wanted to see mixing demonstration with plugins, which is really strange because I've done so many of those videos. And those are usually not the most popular videos that I have. But I'll go back and I'll start doing some more mixing demonstrations with plugins. Where possible, there's a couple of new plugins that just came out that I'm going to put on Home Recording Made Easy soon. And we'll do some more stuff there. And then the second one was the songwriting production stuff, which again, like I said, we're going to do. So we're going to continue to do those things and try to do stuff you guys want to see. Chris says the Big 6 is great for tracking. I use it to sum my mics on guitar amps, and the EQ and compression are great. Great. It's a great little mixer, man. I wish I could have got one in here. I was really psyched when I was told I was going to be able to get one and an SSL pulled out. But I've had a hard time with SSL when it comes to that. I mean, they're great people. I love their stuff. Nothing about their products, but I've tried to work with them even through Sweetwater. Because I really do like their stuff. They're just not open to it, which is strange to me, but okay. And I'm not going to go spend $3,000 on a mixer just to do a YouTube video. But if they want to send it to me and give it to me for a few months, I would do a lot of great videos with it. Because I think if you can't do something like this, that's a great alternative for someone who's working mostly in the box, but wants a little analog flavor, wants that SSL pedigree, but can't spend 50 or 60,000. But maybe they can spend less than 5,000. That's a great mixer to do that. But sorry, I wish I could do it for you. Hey, Tony. Bought many of Dave's courses. They are truly great. Thank you so much. Regards, Tony. Thank you, Tony. I know you've bought a lot of my stuff, and I thank you so much. I really do. Those are the best kind of comments that I get. And I get emails like that all the time from people. A lot of times people just write in just to say thank you. They don't even have a question. That means so much to me. It means I know that the stuff I'm creating is helping. And the reason why I do this stuff is because I like to help people. I'm not on here to making money. Believe me, I don't make any money on YouTube. I make nothing. For the amount of time that I have to put into these channels, for the amount of money that I make, it's actually quite embarrassing. Because I don't have a big enough following, but I enjoy it because I know it helps people. And I know from the YouTube videos that have now become full courses, they help you. And that's great. That's great. I'm so happy. Oh, hey, how long have you been in business, Dave? I started in 1985. I've been in business as a full-time studio guy since, in home recording made easy and all that, since 2013. So I don't know how many years that is. Prior to that, I worked in the industry, just not for myself. So by myself since 2013. So it's been 10 years. 10 years. Feels like it was just yesterday. Chris says, live streams are great. They're really cool for some of us who are not surrounded by other engineers. So it becomes a cool place to talk shop. Yeah, and that's why I do it, Chris, every so often. But it's not the most popular stuff. And I understand why, because we're just talking about shop, like you said, and some people aren't interested in that. Usually live streams are a couple hours long. People don't want to sit through a couple hours of anything. I can't even get them to watch a 30-minute YouTube video. And so it's for a very select amount of people. And that's why I'll continue to do it, but I won't do it more frequently than what I do it now because people don't really want to see it. And it takes a lot of time. But I do like coming on here about every 4 to 6 weeks just to hang out with you guys because I enjoy it too. Again, for me, it's fun. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. And when people ask questions, if I can help them, or, give them an opinion, if they're looking for some new plugins or software or gear or whatever, I'm happy to try to help. Because that's, I enjoy helping people. Oh, I haven't tried the new Avalon 747 plugin. I haven't tried it. I'll have to take a look at that. That's awesome. Sounds like they are terrified of potential product criticisms. Oh, you mean SSL? No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that at all. Because of anyone that's watched me long enough, and I've done enough product videos for enough different companies that know I'm not going to get on here and just criticize and bash a product. That's not what I do. If you won't see anything on this channel that isn't a product or a brand that I really do think is good. I'm not a channel that just comes on here and knocks the hell out of companies for the sake of doing that. I don't do that. So I would never do that with SSL or anybody's company. I think it's just because they don't feel like they need me to do it. And that's fine. It surprises me a little bit, but I mean, again, that's okay. I mean, again, I'm not offended by it. It is what it is. I don't have a burning desire to spend, again, if they sent me, let's say the Big 6 mixer, right? They don't pay me to do the videos. So the only way I really get paid is if the videos do really, really well and I make a little bit of YouTube ad money. But again, that's pennies. It's pennies. I'm not like Produce Like a Pro or Big Bus TV or Colt Caparoon or Andrew Masters or all these guys that have huge YouTube channels that I'm sure, based on the popularity of their channels, the amount of subscribers and views their videos get, I know they're making well over 6 figures just in ad money every year. And I just know that because when I look at what I make and I look how much bigger they are than me, I don't have to do the math long to know they're making big money. So for them, YouTube is a business. And that's great, by the way. I'm not saying bad about it. But that's not me, So, I wouldn't make anything on those videos other than to just try it for myself to learn because I'm a curious kind of guy and help pass along information to you because I enjoy it and it's fun. That's it. So, yeah. So I don't know. If SSL or any company doesn't want to work with me or anybody else, that's okay. That's okay. A lot of times too, companies like SSL or if they're going to send out a very expensive product, they're going to send it to a channel that has 150,000 subscribers, or like in Warren Hewitt's case, 500,000 subscribers. And I totally understand that. That's just a business decision. Why are they going to give me a $3,000 mixer when they could give it to one of those guys and they're going to get 10 times the views on their product? Just makes sense, right? I totally aware and understand that. I'm not a channel that's large enough that I don't have that kind of clout. And I probably never will, because my channels they're not the same. They're different than what those guys do. And so I see why SSL wouldn't want to send me an expensive mixer. I get it. But other companies do. PreSonus sent me a Studio Live. That costs more than the Big 6. to do videos for them. They thought it was of value. I know I've sold several studio lives with my videos. I know because they've told me. So for them, it was a good business decision. If I did a bunch of videos with the Big Six, would some of you go out and buy it? I know you would. If I told you it was a good product, and I would only do the video if I really thought it was a good product, and my guess is it is. I would be shocked if it wasn't. And if I did 4 or 5 videos on the Big Six, we would sell a bunch of them. And it would pay for that mixer that they sent me all day long. But maybe they have a limited amount of people they can send their stuff out to, and I'm not a big enough fish in the pond, I think. And again, that's okay. That's okay. No problem. I still love solid state logic. I love the Origin. Even though a lot of people tell me I'm an idiot for buying this thing, I'm the only guy on YouTube even talking about this console. The only one. Every now and again, you'll see Chris Lord Alge talk about it because he's paid by SSL to do it. And I love Chris Lord Alge. He's one of my heroes. He's been an SSL guy when I was in diapers. So but go find me another channel that has put the amount of content out about this console than me. Nobody. So you would think that, again, if I was SSL, I'd be saying, wait a minute. He has a built-in audience of people that like this console. No one else is talking about our product. But whatever. It's okay. Anyhow, I don't think it's just you with SSL. Warren Hewitt said he wanted to get SSL 6 and nothing ever happened. SSL probably just wants their reps like CLA to do it. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes total sense. That's okay. That's okay. But maybe not a Big Six, but I know Warren's got a lot of solid state logic product before. I know that to be true. So solid state logic has sent him product before, trust me. And they should. Warren Hewitt is an SSL guy too. He has an 80s console. He's a big supporter and advocator of SSL consoles. They should send him product. So again, I'm not saying anything bad about Warren. I like Warren. I don't know him, but what Warren's done in the music industry and what he's done on YouTube, it's no wonder companies are tripping over themselves to send him stuff. They should. If I had a product, I'd be sending it to Warren too. You're damn right. Warren sells lots of gear for lots of companies. And I mean that in a very good way. Good for him. Your live streams are great. Grab a coffee, maybe just a donut to talk shop. It's definitely valuable. Thank you. Great. I don't think you have done any acoustic audio reviews. I have not. Any plans implementing them into your reviews yet? Nope. They are really established in the field now. Here's the problem with Acoustica. Again, and I'll revisit them if something changes. Number one, I hate their website. I tried downloading one of their products a couple of years ago. It was the most difficult product to use. I don't understand. I didn't like any, I wasn't impressed with any of it. At least at the time, things could have changed. You can't demo their product. I've reached out to Acoustica because so many of you people have hounded me about their stuff for so long. And I keep saying, I don't find it impressive. I used one of their plugins once. I didn't like it. I don't understand what the big hype is, but I reached out to them and said, I'll show you all the comments on all the different YouTube channels. People ask me to do your product. Will you give me a demo of a couple of your more popular channel strips? Again, I'm not looking for something for free. I'll try it. Never heard back from them. I reached out to them 2 times. So I'm not going to go buy their stuff. Every time I look at their website, my head hurts. I think it's one of the most lousy laid out websites I've ever seen. Maybe their stuff sounds amazing. If they're willing to give me some demo licenses, fully functioning demos, not demos that every 10 seconds the sound cuts out. That's BS. Waves does that now. And one of the reasons why I won't use their plugins anymore. They went from a full functioning demo to a demo that the sound cuts out every 7 seconds or some BS like that. I don't understand why a plugin manufacturer would ever do that. Give us a 7-day fully functioning demo. if they're willing to do that, I would check out their stuff because enough of you have asked me about it. But, and maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'll be blown away by their stuff. But the stuff that I have tried didn't impress me at all. But that was a long time ago. So again, I'm not against trying something, but I'm not buying their stuff. They need to send it to me. Again, it doesn't have to be for free, even though it should be. A plugin should be for free for the amount of exposure that I'll give it. But I just want a functioning demo. And if a company's not willing to do that, then I don't want to work with you. And that says, to me, that says a lot about that company. Not hardware. Again, I understand the SSL, the hardware, expensive. I get it. A plugin with the amount of audience that I have. I mean, I don't have a tiny YouTube channel. If I do Acoustic plugin demos, people will watch them. If you're not willing to give me a plugin, really? Then I don't know. You won't answer you won't even respond to my requests. That's all I really need to know about that company. Okay. By the way, CLA built a new room around the Origin. I know. And they're using it for they are using many of the same outboard gear like the Blueies. They have a video out on the room. Yeah, that video's been out a while. Unless they've done a new video, an update video, but that video's been out a while. Yeah, they have an Origin. Yeah, so does Blackbird. Blackbird's got one too. Blackbird Studios. It's a good console. For the money, you can't beat it. For the money and the feature set, you can't beat it. There is no other console on the market that does what this console does at the same price. Well, there's a couple that are close. The Trident is one in Audience, but Audience isn't an SSL. And that's nothing against Audience. Have you heard of anything about the Behringer A-D 8200? I have not. It'll give me 8 more channels going from your Allen & Heath GL 2200 and the Studio 1824C. No, I haven't heard about it. Maybe it's good. I don't know anything about it. Omer, hey, how are you? UAD API Vision or Lindell 50. For more depth, I've used them both. To me, they were both pretty equal. For more depth, when the way you're asking, go demo them, because I don't. Is one going to have more depth than another? Not really. The API Vision's a great channel strip. The Lindell 50 is good as well. Trying to think off the top. I didn't put them side by side. I just remember them both sounding good. But I don't know which one's going to have more depth than the other. You'd have to go demo them. You'd have to go demo them. Because I'd have to put them side by side and listen. My guess is they're probably very similar in that respect. If I had to guess. Hey, Kaiser. Hope you're doing well. So what else? Okay, make sure, again, you guys, if you want to take advantage of the sale that's coming up next week, go there now. I'll put the link in the chat. You can go to Home Recording Made Easy. Let me just minimize my thing here. Or maybe David SJ could do that for me. Put Home Recording Made Easy in there, Dave, on both channels if you would. So go use the coupon code LABOR50, and that will take 50% off anything on the website, including the Mixing Masterclass and the 2 hybrid mixing courses. Go check those out. You'll like those, trust me. So what other questions do we have? Do we have any other questions, or should I get out of here? I don't even know how long I've been on here. Probably about an hour and a half, right? Make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. And again, if either one of my channels helps you in any way, there's 2 ways you can help. Because people ask me a lot, how can we support you? Watch the videos, comment, that's great. You can, again, try out one of my training courses if you haven't. That's one way. You can use super thanks on these live streams. That's another way. There's even on my homepage at a Home Recording Made Easy, a donate button if you want to give me a tip. Every little bit helps. It allows me to come on here and do this stuff. really at no charge. All the stuff I do for YouTube is free, right? Again, this is not a money-making venture, YouTube, for me. I do this purely out of the passion and the love for it. I'm not a YouTube influencer where I'm making tons of money. I wish. I'm not. So anything that you guys can do to support me allows me to keep doing these things on YouTube and to give away all this content. I give away a lot more content than I charge for, way more content than I charge for. Some people tell me I'm crazy. I give away so much stuff for nothing because I like it. I have fun. And like I said, if you're coming a little later, if you came in a little late, the cover song mixing challenge, I think that's what I'm going to call it, with myself and Brandon Van Allen is coming soon. You're going to like that. I think it's going to be really, really cool. The few songs that I've heard him do already, he sent me back his rough cuts of them. Man, they almost sound like the original songs. He's such a good producer, singer, songwriter, and instrumentalist. And so what we're going to do is some of these songs are from the 80s, from the 90s. We're going to do all different decades. Well, we're starting with, because the majority of the people that watch me on both of our channels, my demographic is 35 to 65, right? So you guys, most of it sits in that 45 to 50-year-old range. So you guys grew up on 70s, 80s, 90s music. So we picked some really popular hits from that time. And we try to stay true to the original from the recording and the production and the song arrangement standpoint. But then what we're going to do from the mixing standpoint is we're going to give them a more modern sound, bring them up to kind of today. Maybe not sound so vintage from the mix standpoint. We're going to try to give it a more modern flair. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that, both with hardware and with plugins. It'll be a lot of fun. And you guys will be able to get the course, get the videos, get all the files, the audio files, and you'll be able to enter the mixing challenge, no extra cost. As part of your purchase, you're automatically entered. And like I said, I got a few companies that have already stepped up with some sponsorship to give away some prizes. It's going to be cool. I think you guys are going to like it. At least I'm going to try it, and we'll see. And if you guys like it, we'll do more of them in the future. And it'll give you guys another way to get some training, and have some fun and have an opportunity to win some stuff too, which is cool. What is your vocal chain hardware you use while mixing vocals? Well, it could be one of a million. It could be one of several different things, depending on the track, female, male, style of music. But a lot of times it's going to come through the SSL, obviously. More times than not, it's going to go through a Pultec EQ. It can either go through a FET style compressor like an 1176, or it could go through an LA2A. Sometimes it'll go from an 1176 into an LA2A. Sometimes. So that's pretty typical. Sometimes female vocals, especially more ballad stuff, I'll use the Audioscape V-Comp as a compressor, which is a stay level. That's a Varimu. But more times than not, it's going to go Pultec into an 1176, usually. And depending on the track, because I have 5 1176s. So all different revs. So it depends on the vocal. Focusrite 4th generation interfaces are now on the market. Oh, that's cool. What are your thoughts? I don't know anything about it. I'm sure they're great. Focusrite makes good stuff. So I would be surprised if it wasn't any good, to be honest. I don't use their stuff, but I know people that do that love it, and they make good stuff. So I'd be shocked if their stuff wasn't any good. I'm sure it's really good. But I don't know if they have anything new or if it's just upgrades to the line that they already have that I'm just not familiar with. So any other questions? Anything else? What else do I got to tell you? Anything else? Oh, yeah. Well, I think I told you guys earlier, on Mixing Music Analog, people have asked me about when the NG level, I'm pointing to this, but this works with the NG leveler by West Audio. The automation, I already did the full video. It's killer. With this UF8, now we have automation that's recallable as part of this workflow. That's a killer box. If you're looking for post-processing recallable automation when you're using an analog mixer, that NG leveler by West Audio, something you want to check out. Hey, Justin, how are you? Wonder how you feel about UAD going native. I'm not surprised. I've been saying for a long time, they're eventually going to go native. So yeah, not all of their plugins are native yet. I know for people like me that have owned Universal Audio stuff since the beginning and paid top dollar for the stuff with all the hardware, those people are upset and they're crying and moaning and groaning. And I understand. I'm one of those people, but I'm not moaning and groaning about it because it's just times are changing, man. Times are changing. Now the computer power is such, and there's enough plug-in manufacturers that make wonderful plugins that don't chew up all your CPU. It would be silly for them not to go native. But not all their plugins are native. But they'll eventually all be native. I think it's good. I still think they make some of the best plugins out there. Are they better than anybody else? No, it depends on the plugin. But yeah, if they're starting to sell their stuff cheap like Waves, that's only good for the consumer. You have more choices. But yeah, I'm one of the people that have I have the UAD2 satellites. I own every plugin they've ever made. And I paid, the full prices way back in the day. I guess I could be upset by it, but who's going to listen, right? It is what it is. It's just like when people go complain about the subscription with plugins, people get so upset. It's like, look, as long as the company gives you a choice, subscription, non-subscription, I don't know what you're getting all excited about. It just is the way it is. All software today, all software will eventually all be subscription. It eventually will be. It just will be. And you just got to kind of accept it, even if you don't like it. So I don't really worry about it. I think good for them. Antelope is also selling their plugins natively. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's great. Hey, Braxel. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little hoarse. I've been on here a while. Been on here almost 2 hours. And I did a couple of videos this morning for the channel. So I've been talking now for probably 4 hours. So I'm trying to wet my whistle. Yes, it's just water. But no, yeah, just from a lot of talking today. Videos take a lot out of you, man. Hi, Justin. Would you say the UAD 1176, for example, is much better than the Waves? No. Nope. Nope. And I think I've done a couple of videos on home recording made easy. With UAD, we did an 1176 shootout not too long. Well, it's probably a couple of years ago. But we did Waves, we did UAD, we did PreSonus, we did whoever it was at the time. And no, they're all going to sound slightly different. They all sound pretty good. Is one really better than another? Not really. Not really. They're all good is what I'm trying to tell you. The Waves ones are good. I have them. The UAD ones are good. I have them. What is my favorite channel strip plugin? Well, there's a few of them. If I'm using the SSL channel strip, I really like the Waves CLA Mix Hub. That's the emulation of his SSL. I like that one. I like the SSL native channel strip is really good too. For SSL. For Neve, I like the Universal Audio 88R. There's so many good ones out there though. But my favorite is probably the SSL only because I love the SSL sound. It's just my thing. So if I had to choose mixing with a plugin, what desk would I use? I would use an SSL more times than not. The thought of a plugin trying to emulate a piece of hardware is still something I find weird and unappealing. Well, it's come a long way, man. It gets closer and closer all the time. From someone who works with both, and if you watch both of my YouTube channels, you know that we've compared both, especially on Mixing Music Analog. We've done several plug-in to hardware shootouts We have yet to find a situation where the plugin sounded better than the hardware, especially compressors. EQs, it's a little bit closer. Plugins are great. Again, I always say that plugins are great. I mean, if you're a Home Recording Made Easy follower, subscriber, whatever, you know I know plugins are great. They don't sound like hardware. Some of them sound close, but they don't sound exactly the same. I prefer the hardware much better, but it's just different. It's not better. I just like it better. Some people, especially people that come from the analog world, going to all plugins is more of an adjustment for them because it doesn't sound the same. Now, can you get close with it? Can you get something that has that sort of sound? Yes, if you know how to use the plugins. That's the other big thing that a lot of people don't understand, which is why I created an entire course on it at Home Recording Made Easy called Mixing with Analog Style Plugins Made Easy. That's the name of the course, Mixing with Analog Style Plugins Made Easy. Is I teach you how to use those plugins in a way that emulates the workflow. It's not like using a stock plugin. I can't tell you how many students buy all these third-party plugins and they have no understanding on really how to use them. That course will help you with that. So it gets you in the ballpark, but it doesn't sound the same. It just doesn't. Now, sometimes you'll find a singular, like an EQ plugin and an EQ piece of hardware, one-to-one. If you were just comparing that one piece to that one plugin, they're in the ballpark. But when you talk about an entire mix with 32 channels of hardware, preamps, and EQs, I don't know how many channels, dozens of channels of hardware compressors and saturators and harmonic boxes and all of that. When you're talking about across an entire mix, that's where the hardware really stands out. One-to-one on a single channel, not as much, right? So if you listen to someone compare a snare drum and they're soloing up the snare drum and we're going to listen to a hardware and a plugin, that gap's a little bit closer. But when you take that compound effect across an entire mix, there's no comparison, in my opinion. Some people would absolutely disagree with everything I just said, and that's okay. I'm just telling you that's my opinion. Yes, Braxel, number 3 comes out next week, I think. It's already done. And I'm going to start on part 4 and 5, I think, this week. I do not own any 12-bit samplers. Love the SA78. Use it. The few mixes I've done since I've had it, used it on all of them. Sound great. It's a great compressor. What is my Desert Island mic and mic pre for tracking vocals? I really don't track vocals these days, but if I were to, probably a Neumann, probably a U87 or a Telefunken 251, and mic pre. Maybe an API. Maybe an API. Like a 412, maybe. I mean, there's a million of them out there, but that would be something I would be really good. Would sound really great. Been working on my KHE audio amp switcher. Cool. I've been making Mogami speaker cables. That sounds like fun. I can switch amps, load boxes, cabs with a Stream Deck. Nice. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Also, do you hate that any plugin that you can't zoom larger? Yeah, well, most new plugins now, you can blow up the GUI. But yeah, I still get, anytime a company puts out a new plugin and you can't resize the window, that makes me crazy. Crazy. That's such a basic thing today. Thank you for all the time you put into this. You're very welcome. I get a lot out of your videos. It helps me to think in a different ways, gives me workarounds. Great. Just by you working on a console. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, when you work in this analog workflow, there's many ways to do it, right? My workflow has even changed since I bought the console. So some of the earlier videos that you might have seen on Mixing Music Analog where I talk about my workflow, It's considerably different today. I really do need to make an updated video on that. But there's many ways to work with this stuff. Many ways. And you kind of fall into what you like and don't like. And then you could see me do something and try that, and you either like that or don't, and then you may find another way that you like it. And that's really cool. But I appreciate the kind words. Have you ever used the green full rack Joe Meek? No, I've seen it, but I've never used it. I've never used any Joe Meek stuff. And I think I know someone that has some Joe Meek stuff, and I think he likes it, but I've never used it. Oh, thank you, Justin, very much. Thank you. You're great. Many thanks for all you do. Your trainings are also great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, speaking of training, again, if you guys want to get in on the Labor Day sales that start Monday early, use the coupon code LABOR50 at homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and you'll get 50% off all the training courses. So go do it now, and you can spend the weekends, and you don't have to wait till Monday. TKO, thanks for your efforts. Just discovered your channel. Oh, cool. Welcome. Just got Studio One. Enjoying your Studio One videos. Very helpful. Awesome. If you just found me, go to Home Recording Made Easy, go to the trainings page, and then you'll see the Studio One specific training videos. You can get them at 50% off. If you're new to Studio One, I highly recommend those. The YouTube videos will help you as well, but those will go in a lot more depth. So what do you honestly think about the converters in the Neumann versus all the videos you guys did? I haven't compared the convert. We haven't done that shootout yet. That's next. It's next coming up on the list. I haven't compared the actual converter to the PreSonus converter yet. So I don't know. But we'll do the videos on it. My gut tells me it's not going to be really any different, but it might be. I don't know. The one thing about the Neumann that, again, it's a little bit of a different animal, the MT-48, because it's an audio interface. And there's no way to bypass the preamps on that interface. And I know that to be true because I talked to Neumann tech support, because a lot of people were saying that in the comments. And I wanted to make sure I knew what the truth was, because you know how the internet is, right? People say stuff and most people have no understanding of what they're talking about. But in this case, those people were right. But I wanted to confirm that. However, Neumann did say to me that their preamps are ultra clean, and there is a setting to switch them from mic line to line input, but it doesn't bypass the preamp. But he says the preamp will not color your sound. So I got to take that into account, and we'll say that in the videos just so people understand, because it will be a legitimate question that people will have. So again, if there's super ultra clean preamps, is that going to affect the sound in our test? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. We'll see. Is it going to sound any better than the ones that we've done so far? I have no idea. People will tell me that it is. I mean, again, there's certain people that no matter what I tell you in a video, they're convinced that the converter makes that big of a difference, even though I don't believe that it does. But maybe with this box, we'll hear something different. If we do, me and David, because me and David do these together, David and I will both get on camera and we will say we were wrong. We found the box. Here it is. It sounds, not even if it sounds better, because again, that is subjective. If it sounds considerably different, well, we're going to report that too. Just, do we really hear a difference? Whereas in the Dangerous Music, you couldn't really hear the difference. The Neve, without the transformer, I couldn't hear any difference. The Burl, you haven't seen those videos yet. The Burl's a little bit of a different animal. It is different, but it's not like the Burl was light years different, but it was the most different of the three because of the design of that box. And we talk about that in that box. So I don't know if the Neumann is going to be any different. You'll know when we know. But I will say that the MT-48 as a desktop audio interface is a great piece of gear. It really is. That doesn't mean it fits into this rig. It doesn't. That, even if those converters sounded spectacular, that's the wrong box for this rig. I would buy another box that had that same converter in it. that was more suited, because that's an audio interface. It's so overkill for what I would be doing. But as an audio interface, it's a really nice piece of gear if you have $2,000. So, you know, out of time. Do you think it's worth to buy Studio One 6 Pro? I have Studio One 5 and it's working great. If you have Studio 5 and it's working great, no. Not that Studio One 6 Pro isn't great, but the difference between 5 and 6 are not that big of a difference unless you are really diving really deep and using all of the production stuff in that Studio One, which 99% of people don't. I would say no. Stick with 5. There's no real reason to upgrade to 6. 5 is great. There's a couple little subtle workflow comforts and stuff, but overall, if you got something you're happy with and you don't feel like you're missing a feature, then there's no reason to upgrade. Hi, Ivan. Why do all of YouTubes discuss equipment in no acoustic space you're recording it in? I talk about it all the time, brother. You must be new to the channel. Mixing Music Analog, we talk about the space and we talk about the room, and the acoustic treatment is more important than any piece of gear in here. And if you haven't seen it, go back and watch my 2 or 3 part series on the trim-off room correction. Oh yeah, which I have an update about the Nova I haven't told you about yet. Room correction acoustic treatment is the best money you can spend when it comes to recording and mixing in a studio, home or otherwise. Without a shadow of a doubt, I say it all the time. That trim-off was a $5,000 piece of equipment to help me with what you're talking about, Ivan. The best $5,000 I've ever spent. Without a shadow of a doubt. Some people don't buy that. That's okay. But yes, the space you're recording in and mixing in is the first thing you should be concerned about if you're trying to turn out stuff that sounds professional and that is accurate when you're listening back in the room. And we talk about it here a lot. The reason why a lot of YouTube channels don't, Ivan, is because it's not a sexy topic. Most people want the magic formula. They want the one magic bullet piece of gear that's going to fix all their crappy production issues. They don't want to go through all the trouble. They just don't. And it's not a popular topic. That's why you don't see a lot of YouTube channels talking about it. But we talk about it all the time because it is more important than any piece of gear you'll ever buy. So I appreciate your comment. You just got a Mackie FX10. Oh, cool. And it has inputs and preamps on it, then you don't need another audio interface. But I'd have to look at that particular piece of equipment. Oh, you have yours. You have yours together like I do, Braxel? Yeah. I use both of them all the time. The 260 VU is great too, man. I love it. What do you think about the Neumann MT-48 dynamic range? Oh, it has 136 dB of dynamic range and it's world-class converters. Man, you must be coming to the stream late. Looking for an interface to do mixing. I've been talking about this interface for the last 2 hours. There's 2 videos on my channel on Home Recording Made Easy. Go check those out. I just said it 5 minutes ago. It's a great piece of gear. For the money, it's expensive. It's expensive. It's a great piece of gear. World-class converters. I'm still not convinced of that yet, but huge dynamic range, fantastic preamps, fantastic headphone amplifiers. If you're looking for an interface for mixing in the box and out of the box, the MT-48 isn't going to help you with mixing out of the box. Doesn't have enough line outs. Don't get hung up on the converter. But the rest of the stuff in it's a great box. Go watch the videos at Home Recording Made Easy. And if you want to rewind and watch the replay here, I've been talking a lot about that interface today. The preamps may be clean, but I bet they didn't mention how the preamp has lower dynamic range than the converter. The point being its limiting factor in the path. Yeah, you could be right. Again, you could be right. You could be right. And that's why, you know, the only reason why I'm going to do the test here is because I have it in my hand. And before I let it go, I want to compare it. But you're right. It's not the same as comparing it to the Neve or to the Burl or to the Dangerous Music. It's a little bit different. but I'm going to compare it because we have it. And we'll talk about that during the video. And again, I already know it doesn't matter what I say, but you're right that there may be lower dynamic range. And again, I'm just going to keep saying it. Until someone can give me a converter where I really hear a difference, I think people make way too much about the converters. And I'm not the only one that thinks that way. I talk to lots of people in this industry, pro-level engineers that have been in the business a long time, and they all say pretty much the same thing. You'd be surprised some of the converters that these guys use. You would think it would be all high-end, top-shelf stuff. Some studios are. The majority of studios, they're not spending $8,000, $9,000 on their converters. They're not. Some are, but they're not. And you don't need to. You don't need to. At least I don't think you need to. But if you think you do, or someone thinks they do, that's awesome. You know, good for you. It's okay. But I think people make way too much about the converter. Way too much. Okay. Oh, take care, Dave. I see Dave's leaving. Thank you, Dave. Have a great rest of your weekends. He put up all the links again for people to check out the training. Oops, I'm sorry there, Digital Space. Let me see here. Oh, I agree with you. I just think it's funny how the market and dynamic range on that thing, but the real dynamic range is what's on the preamp since everyone has to go through it. Yeah, right. Yeah. You're right. But again, but maybe I'll plug that Neumann in over here. We'll do a couple of print tracks and I might be totally wrong. I kind of hope I am. I want someone to prove to me that there's really a difference. I haven't heard it yet, but that'd be awesome if it was. Because like I said earlier, or in the last live stream, I said the same thing about the Trinoff. When I first bought that thing and brought it in here, I said, this is all hype and nonsense. There is no way this is going to make that big of a difference. I could not have been more wrong. So you don't know until you try, right? I'm skeptical, but I'm open-minded enough to try. And that's the thing about, I think, especially when you talk about hardware. In the home recording made easy world, not so much. In software, people are a little more open-minded. When you get to this stuff, people are a lot more closed-minded. And they're not willing to, they got their beliefs, man. They got the, you know, what do they say? They got their flag, you know, on the mountaintop, man. And no matter what you say to them, no matter what facts you show them, no matter what you can or can't prove to them, you're not changing their minds. They're not open-minded enough to try something new, to learn something different, to try another point of view, and to be okay with being wrong. I'm the exact opposite of that. I want to be proven wrong because that means I'm going to learn something. I'm not married to any of this stuff. None of it. People think somehow I'm married to the PreSonus Quantum 4848s. That could be so far from the truth. If there was another box at right around the same price point or even a little more money that I actually heard a difference and said, I think that sounds better to me, you know what I would do the very next day? The PreSonus Quantums would be up on Reverb for sale and I would put the new ones in. I'm not that stubborn and closed-minded, but I'm shocked at how many people that are when you get into the hardware world. And sometimes people just get downright nasty. It's really unbelievable. It's shocking to me. And those are people who I feel probably don't get very far in this business because they're not willing to open up their minds. You know, just because you like something one day doesn't mean you can't be proven wrong the next day. Be open-minded enough to try and to listen. Don't be so tied to your beliefs because you may be missing out on something. So anyway. The biggest difference in converters is latency. You can avoid it by using analog mixers. Lower latency is better performance by artists. Yeah. So I have no latency issues here. Zero. And I've done that test. As a matter of fact, I should do a video for you guys on that at one time, where actually I would run stuff through my converters into the console and then direct out, print it back in, treated, and print it back in. And then it will line up with the original track going out to the print track coming in right on top of each other. No latency, no lag. And I did that with 32 channels printed simultaneously. I was shocked there was no latency. There was no lag. There was nothing. I couldn't believe it. But I hear what you're saying. You're right. See you later, Braxel. Have a great day, buddy. I've been messing around with the Zoom H4n Pro portable recorder, and it's not bad so far. Yeah, I've used that a long time ago. It's a nice little field recorder. Most studios spend over $3,000 on audio interfaces. Converters are high-end mastering studios. Yeah, okay. I mean, my interfaces are, well, the Quantums are only $1,500 a piece. I got 3 of them. So, yeah, again, I don't know. And again, a high-end mastering grade converter, I joke about that. Again, I don't even know what that means. What's a mastering grade converter? Just because somebody paid $10,000 for their converter, does that make it better? Maybe it does. If someone wants to send me a $10,000 converter box, I'll put it up against his 4848 any day. And if it's better, I'll tell you. Braxel says, yep, I remember when you got the Trin off. You were very skeptical, hugely skeptical. Then it was the best thing since apple pie. I tell everybody. And if you don't want to buy a Trin off because it's out of your budget and it's expensive, you ought to do something with room correction, unless you are in a highly built out professional control room. If you're working in anything outside of that, you should have some kind of room correction. And the Trin off is the best of, there is nothing better than that. But I didn't believe that when I first brought it in here. Uncle Dave, I love your honesty. Thank you. Oh, Braxel, you're still sticking around. Good. Yeah, I'm just an honest guy. It's why I get a lot of hate. I'm mixing music analog. It's amazing. I joke, me and David SJ will talk about this. I've been on Home Recording Made Easy, the YouTube channel, since 2013. The amount of people that I've had to block from the channel for being nasty or rude to me. Now, granted, remember now, mixing music analog. What do I got here? Is my, I'm on low battery here. Oh, wow. How did my phone go to low battery? Anyway, mixing music analog has what? Almost 1/10 the amount of subscribers and has only been around 2 years. I could count on one hand in 12 years at Home Recording Made Easy the amount of people that I've had to delete comments and or block them from the channel because they're just rude and nasty to either me or some of the other people that are on some of my supporters. In 10 years, mixing music analog, I lost count. It was hundreds and hundreds, usually 2 to 3 a week. It's unbelievable. And it's because I come on here and I'm honest. Not that I'm not honest at Home Recording Made Easy. I'm an honest guy. I tell you the way it is. And it's all just my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. You guys come here because you asked me for my opinion, so I give it to you. I'm not here schlepping you a bunch of gear. I'm not like these other YouTube channels, okay, where they get paid $1,000 to $1,500. Some get more than that, by the way, just to make the YouTube video. Let me say that again in case you misheard me. I personally know, you know who they are. I'm not going to mention their names. I don't need to. $500 a video, $1,000 a video, $1,500 a video, just to put the video on their channel. And by the way, good for them. If they worked hard enough to build a YouTube channel where they have that kind of an audience that someone's willing to give them $1,000 to put their product on it. But let me ask you, if you were doing a product demo for someone and they paid you $1,500 to do a video, you're going to be 100% honest about the things, maybe some of the things you don't like? Or is it going to be the best product that you ever put your hands on? I don't get paid $1,500 to do a product video. I wish I did. I don't. Every piece of gear that you see here, I've never been paid a dime. Now, some of the pieces from Audioscape and only Audioscape, I've gotten for free to do product demos. This was after we developed a relationship and I actually bought some of their products early on when I first discovered Audioscape. They're the only company. So if I tell you, for example, the Empress EQ up there, that 2BQ, that's $2,000, is the best stereo Pultec style EQ I've ever heard. Go buy it. I don't get any affiliate money from Sweetwater because they don't sell it. You can only buy it at Vintage King and other online retailers. So I get nothing. I paid $2,000 for that unit. The company doesn't even know who I am. I never got paid anything. But if I'm telling you it's good, it's not because someone gave me $1,000 to put their product on my YouTube channel. And that gets me a lot of hate. And that's okay. It's okay. I have a thick skin. I don't care. It's okay. People can say whatever they want as long as they're respectful. When people disagree, that's fine. But when people are nasty and use vulgar language, and you can't even imagine that. Some people say I ought to let those comments go through so people can see it. And I don't want to do that because then I feel like we're going to be like Gear Space or the old Gear Sluts. I don't want to be that. No, I don't want you to have to read through all the comments and have to sift through all that stuff. So as long as some people are respectful, I'm cool. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care whether you agree with me. And I say that all the time, lovingly and respectfully. I don't care. My channels are built around my journey in sharing my experience with you. And if it helps you, great. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. I tried. You'll find another YouTube channel that can help you. One thing better than the Trinoff is the Sigma Studio Mini DSP. I've never heard of that. You just need to learn how to use it. Oh, I have a hard time believing it's $20. Okay, I've never heard of that. I don't know how it's better than a Trinoff. I'd have to look into that. I highly doubt that, but hey, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm not right about everything. I haven't tried every piece of gear on the planet. Oh, I know you probably said this 100 times, but I know there's a good step-by-step tutorial on Studio One, 6 that you would recommend. Yeah, the one on my channel. Excuse me. The one on my website, Home Recording Made Easy. Go to the PreSonus Studio One Beginner's Guide and then pick up recording in Studio One Made Easy. Again, use the coupon code LABOR50. You get 50% off any course on the website. Those are 2 courses that'll take you. It assumes you know nothing about Studio One and gets you up and running. Hope that helps. Braxel, well, I hope you would not block me. No, I don't block people that say something only if they're rude and they're disrespectful to me or to one of our, if someone was disrespectful to you, Braxel, and they were nasty to you, they'd be gone. It's not just me. It's some of my supporters. And we've had that happen where there'll be a bunch of comments and one of our family members will write something in a comment and the next comment is kind of rude to that person. They're gone. So no, as long as people are respectful, everyone's opinion is valid. But if you ask me my opinion, I'm going to tell you. If you don't want my opinion, then don't ask me. Right? It's all good. Have you ever considered adding another pair of monitors for comparison in your mixing? I'm not saying anything about the focals, just wondering if you had another pair that is useful. Yeah, I used to. So prior to the Trinoff, I used to check my mixes on 4 different sets of monitors and headphones. So my focals, then I used to have a pair of Avatones, then I would use a pair of headphones or 2, and now I even have now up there, you can't really see it. I have a little mini Bluetooth speaker. So I use that. Once I got the Trinoff, and I found that the mixes translated 100% on anywhere that I put my mixes outside. When I did them on the focals, I didn't need to check them on all those monitors anymore. So now what I do is I just check them on my focals, my little Bluetooth speaker, and then I'll throw on my headphones quick at the end, and that's about it. And people have asked, Oh, pardon me. People have asked me, have I ever considered upgrading my vocals? I've been a vocal user for so many years. I love the way they sound. The only ones I've ever considered upgrading was from the vocal twins to the vocal trios. But no, I mean, some people have said, you should get some ATCs, and I'm sure they're great. They're very, very expensive. I'd have to learn them all over again. But honestly, I don't need them. Ever since I've been using the Trin off, all my clients, and I work with lots of people, they hear my mixes and they all translate beautifully. So why would I change them? I don't have a problem with translation anymore. I did before the Trin off. So, it's not that I wouldn't like different sets of speakers. I just so used to them and I like them. There's really no reason for me to change. Honestly, I'm starting to think that Sweetwater is really making shrills out of good YouTubers. I like in the past, now I don't watch them much. Well, it's not Sweetwater's not doing it. It's the YouTuber that's taking the money. Don't blame Sweetwater. I know what you mean. And everybody today is a Sweetwater commercial. And believe me, I was one of the first affiliates that they ever had. I was like in the first 5. And I thought back then it was something special. Like they reached out to me to be an affiliate. And I was so honored because I've been using Sweetwater, been talking about Sweetwater, sending people to Sweetwater 10 years before I ever became an affiliate. I thought like it was a special thing when I became an affiliate. I was like proud. Sweetwater wanted me to fly out there and do some videos with them. And then within 3 or 4 months, everybody was a Sweetwater affiliate. And I felt kind of like, I don't feel special anymore. I had the wrong impression. Sweetwater is all over YouTube, but I'll tell you what, if you're Sweetwater, the best decision they ever made. Best decision they ever made. From a business perspective, I don't blame Sweetwater one bit. That is a business decision that makes a hell of a lot of sense. They should have did it years earlier. I'm surprised more companies don't do it, like Vintage King. And I know this because I've spoke to Vintage King about it. They're missing golden opportunities. It's not Sweetwater. It's the YouTubers that will do anything to make a buck. Now, like I'm saying, it's not all of them. I'm not suggesting that. But, you know, so there's a lot of great YouTubers out there that happen to be Sweetwater affiliates. But there's also a lot of them out there that are just there schlepping gear. And that's fine. As long as you know you're dealing with someone who's being paid to make that content. And there's nothing wrong with being paid to make content. Right? Content, if you've ever done this YouTube thing, like for more than a few weeks, you realize how much work it is. And for some of these guys, it's a full-time job. This is an enormous amount of work to run a YouTube channel, especially a YouTube channel that has 150,000, 250,000. You know, again, I'll say Warren Hewitt because I respect what they do. 500,000 or 600,000 subscribers. And the amount of content that guy puts out takes a team of people, and it's a business, and they need to be paid. And so I get it. But I don't blame Sweetwater. I just tell people when you're watching YouTube channels telling you that every piece of gear that they touch is wonderful and there's never any constructive criticism about the product, take it with a grain of salt. That's all. I'm not saying they're not being dishonest or they're being dishonest. I'm just telling you, when you see me do a gear demo, like the MT-48, you haven't seen the video, the likes, every one of those videos, all my dog controllers, right? It's always 2 or 3 videos. And the last video is what? The likes and dislikes. And I tell you what I like about the product and I tell you what I don't like about the product. Because every product can have something that I think can be improved. And I'm honest about that. I don't care whether the company gave me the gear or not. If I can't be honest about what I think about the gear, and I'm only one guy's opinion, doesn't mean I'm right, it's just my opinion, then why do the video? You don't see videos where everything is wonderful, everything is awesome, everything is this. If I do have a piece of gear where it's like that, that's an exception. And if I'm telling you that, it's because it really is true. And most of the gear, I'll say it one more time for people that are coming in late, especially in mixing music analog. I don't get paid to make the videos. The Trinoff is an example. I didn't say one bad thing about that Trinoff, although it's big and heavy. And they fixed that with the Nova, by the way, but it's a clunky piece of equipment. But I paid full price for it. So if I'm telling you it's awesome and it's been here now 6 months, why would I lie to you? I don't get anything from Trinoff. Nothing. Zero. Sweetwater doesn't sell Trinoff. I think they do now, but they didn't when I bought mine. So if you run out and buy a Trinoff, I don't get anything for that. Nothing. So anyway, I hope that answers, I hope that kind of, I mention these things a lot because we have a lot of new people that come to the channel. And I just want you to know that when you see a gear demo or you see me talk about a product, either on Mixing Music Analog or Home Recording Made Easy, I swear to you, it's 100% honesty of my own opinion. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. It just means I'm honest. And I'll say it again. And again, I say it jokingly because I love all you guys. I really do. I don't care whether you go out and buy the product or not. I don't care. If you go buy it, please use my affiliate link because it does help me. And I so appreciate all of you that have done that. But if you don't go out and buy the MT-48 because I said it's a great little desktop audio interface, I don't care whether you buy it. Means nothing to me. If you bought it because my video helped you buy it and you trust me to tell you the truth, then I'm so happy that I was able to help you. And if you buy it with my affiliate link, thank you so much. If you don't, because you don't believe in that and you don't want to use my affiliate link, that's okay too. If you got a good purchase and you feel good about the product, then I served you good enough. We're friends. I don't care whether you buy the stuff or not. So, and again, I know I get dramatic about it because I really want you to understand I'm not like most of these other YouTube channels. Sometimes I wish I were. I have not been to Red, White, and Pasta in New Jersey. No. Let's see. Let's keep answering questions. Please, Uncle Dave, I'm a beginner learning how to mix. What kind of plug-in chain do I use on a mix bus? If you're a beginning mixer learning how to mix, you don't need a plug-in chain on your mix bus. Learn how to use your stock plugins, and I'm going to give you something for free. Any of you guys can get this for free. DJ, if you haven't already, go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Right on the homepage is a free 90-minute mixing mini course. Absolutely free, no strings attached. Take that course. I show you how to use an EQ and a compressor, stock plugins, how to get a really great clean sounding mix. No fancy mix bus chain, no fancy third-party plugins. Start there if you're a beginner. From there, inside of that course, I recommend what I would feel would be the next steps for a beginner of which one of my courses to take. Don't worry about your plugin mix bus. Don't worry about third-party plugins if you're a beginner. That's what I would tell you to do. And if you have any questions along that, you can certainly ask me here or you can email me to the website and I'll get back to you. Have I ever used Room EQ Wizard? No, but I've seen it. I use it all the time for measuring the EQ of rooms and speakers of equipment. I've never used it, but I've seen it. I think it's a cool program. I am so new to this. I just learned what phantom power is, but I want to learn about the recording side of making music. It's so interesting. Like I said, if you go to get that free course, that's a little mixing course. If you're into Studio One, go to the Studio One page, the training page on my Home Recording Made Easy website. There's a whole page just for Studio One for absolute beginners. Get it at 50% off. Use the coupon code LABOR50, LABOR50. And I'm there to help you, brother. I'm there to help you. Hey, Bobby, what's up, my friend? Mike Wolf, I'm building out my first 500 series rack. Exciting. I've just got an Avid's M5 Pre so far. I never heard of that. Okay. With the new Imperial Labs 500 series distressor on pre-order. I heard that's really cool. I'd love to try that because I have two full distressors. I'd love to try that and compare them. Is there a particular 500 series EQ that you like? Yes. And they're affordable. And I did a video on the Mixing Music analog YouTube channel, the Trident 80Bs. They're about $400 each, or maybe $450. Wonderful sounding EQs for the money. There's a couple others that I really like, but they're twice the price. I like the BAE stuff. I like the Neve stuff, but they're more expensive. But the Tridents are great for the money. I have a pair of them. You can't see them, but they're in the rack. Whole video on the channel demoing those. I do not understand why some of these YouTubers will not do a video on how to crap a unit for a person to be warned if they buy it. Okay, so you will never see me do it. If the product is crap, I won't do the video. And I've had products sent to me and it's sent back and you've never saw the video and I've never spoken about it, and I won't do that. There's a couple of reasons. Nobody wins by me putting up a video and just bashing the hell out of a company. I don't find that to be helpful to anybody. I only do demos of stuff on my channel, of stuff that I either own myself, have owned myself, or absolutely would buy that piece of gear if I was in the market for it. I'm not I'll demo anything, and if any piece of crap comes in here, I'm going to put it on the channel. I don't do that. I don't find it to be, and here's the other reason why YouTubers won't do that, and they shouldn't do it that way. Not the way you worded it, Braxel. Is because if I did that, what company is going to want to work with me, right? What company is going to want to work with me if they say, holy crap, if he doesn't like my product, he's just going to bash it all over YouTube? No company will touch me. And then I won't be able to bring you good quality products, but I'm very selective about the products that I do. I get asked by a lot of companies to do a lot of different things, and 85 to 90% of them I turn down. And it's not because I don't make good products. The deal's not right. Some of them want to pay me to do videos. I don't do that. I don't do that. Now, if a company wanted to hire me on behalf of their company and work for them to make, let's say, and I'll tell you one company we were going to do this with, and I think the budget just fell through. With the Icon QCon Pro X DAW controller, there was a time where they were going to hire me to do product videos for their website as an Icon QCon contractor, to make training videos for their website, for their use, for their content, to demo their products. That would be me being like a subcontractor. And in that case, I was going to be paid to do that. And of course I would have to take the money. I'm not going to do all that work for free. That's different than me doing a demo of their product on my website. Now, I've already did a product demo on my website, and I really like their Icon QCon Pro X. You can go watch those videos. They liked that I liked it, and they liked the way I presented the content, and they were going to hire me. But we couldn't come to an agreement on budget, and so it never happens. So, for example, I would love to do this, but it'll never be done, as I talked about earlier. If SSL wanted me to make some video content about the Origin and why I like the Origin, how I use the Origin for their website, for their content, after using it for almost 3 years and all the videos I've done about it and how much I love it, I would be happy to do it. And if I could be compensated for that, I would have to be reasonably compensated. I would do that. That's different than them paying me because I bought an Origin to go on my YouTube channel and tell you how great the Origin is. You see the difference? So that's the difference. So I'm not going to bash a company if their product sucks, because no other company will ever want to talk to me. And I don't find that constructive for anybody. But I would work for a company as their spokesperson if it was a product that I really believed in. You know, Audioscape would be another one of those. We never talked about that, but you know how much I love the boys at Audioscape. If they wanted me to be an Audioscape spokesperson and do content for them and pay me to do content for them, I'd be happy to do it. Because look at all the stuff I got. Half of it I bought myself. I love their stuff. If I didn't love it, I would never do it, no matter how much they were going to pay me. Hope that makes sense. Okay. One thing about studio monitors, learning and getting used to your monitors is the most important. Yeah, it is. You use JBLs. Cool. Because you know what the mix sounds like on them after using them for years. Yeah, that's my thing too, ML. If I switch out these speakers, I feel like I would have to go all the way back to square one. I can't tell how many people told me to go get some ATCs. You're going to fall in love with them. I'm afraid to go listen to them because I'm going to fall in love with them. And then I got to relearn the room. I got to relearn the speaker. I just don't feel the need to do that. So I can relate. Hey, Ken, how are you? Have you looked at the Baud Gigster yet? I have. The Gigcaster, yes, I have. We were going to, well, again, they weren't ready to, I was talking to Sweetwater because I get asked a lot about podcasting, microphones, both this and shotgun mics that you don't see up here. And there's going to be some videos on shotgun mics. I get asked about those, the Gigcaster. I have a Rodecaster Pro for my in-the-box rig, and I actually have two Rodecaster Pros. You could probably see it over here. You can see the lights up there. That's a Rodecaster Pro, much like the Gigcaster. I use that for this rig for when I do my voiceover and for the video and all that, the SSL sound, all that. And I use it over there at Home Recording Made Easy. And I wanted to compare the Rodecaster to the Gigcaster and some of these other units that are in that live stream podcast market. And I tried to get with Sweetwater to have the Gigcaster. I already have a Rodecaster. There's one by Tascam. I think there's one by Zoom. There was like 3 or 4 of them I was going to try to get together and do some nice videos at Home Recording Made Easy about the different feature sets, how does the Boss measure up against the Rodecaster and all these other things, and just try to compare and contrast and, depending on your workflow, what you would want to use. And they weren't interested at the time to do it. They weren't looking for that kind of content. So we didn't do it. I would love to do it. Again, I own the Rodecasters. I bought them with my own money, as I always say. The Gigcaster, and I'd like to get a couple others. So I haven't tried it. I looked at it. If we ever get to a point with Sweetwater or with Boss, if they'd want to send it to me and I can go through it and kind of compare it to the Rodecaster, and I'd love to try it, but I haven't been able to get a hold of one. Have you compared the Neve 80B hardware to their plugin? No. The Neve 80B? Are you talking about the Trident? Because if you're talking about the Trident, yes, we did a plug-in to hardware to plug-in video on Mixing Music Analog. Me and David did it about 2 months ago. You must be talking about Trident, right, Bobby? Not Neve. I don't know about a Neve 80B. Trying to think, is there a Neve 80B that I don't know about? I don't think there is. You're welcome, Ken. But the Gigcaster looks interesting. I would love to try it. Maybe one day, who knows? Okay, how long have we been on here? We've been on here a while. I'm starting to lose my voice now. So I'll stay on another 4 or 5 minutes. Anybody want to ask their last questions? Again, go to Home Recording Made Easy. Get 50% off all the training courses. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what videos you want to see. Stay tuned for the cover song mixing challenge. That's going to be a lot of fun. At least I'm going to have a lot of fun. You guys might hate it, but I think it's going to be great. That'll be cool. Braxel, you're fine. You're fine. Yes, the Trident, right, Bob? You have Neve on your mind. Oh, you need to go buy some. You need to go buy some Neves. Yes, we did the Trident. The plugin is pretty close to the hardware. It's pretty close. The best 1073 preamp. I don't know about the preamp. I just did a video. You won't see it for several weeks of the BAE 1073 EQL. And that thing sounds awesome. Awesome. Now those BAE products, again, talking about how I do demos, those were on loan to me from Sweetwater. I don't get to keep them. They're going back. I could buy them if I want. Because some of you guys asked me about BAE. And so I brought in a compressor and 2 EQs. One of them is a 1073, and it's awesome. Awesome. I may want to keep it and buy another one so I have a pair. What do I think about the Fusion? I had a Fusion and I sold it, not because it wasn't a great box. I decided on a more flexible master bus mixing bus chain, but the Fusion is a great box. If you're looking for your first piece of hardware and you're all in the box and you're looking for something for your 2-bus, the SSL Fusion is one to consider. In my opinion, anyway. Great box. Happy Labor Day, Kaiser, you as well. Okay. Any more? Anything else? Anything else, everybody? Going once, going twice. I want to thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today on this holiday weekend. I don't even know how many people are watching on both channels, but I know we have a lot of people here, and this is great. You guys are awesome. Again, stay tuned to both channels for all the new content that's coming out. There's a lot of it. Like I said, we have enough content already recorded to get us through most of this year. And then we'll start all over again next year. Home recording made easy will never go away. There's enough content ideas for me to be there forever. Mixing music analog on YouTube. Next year we're gonna struggle coming up with new content because there's only so much gear I have left to look at here. So I'm hoping that the POV mixing might be something you guys really like. And hopefully I stumble onto 1 or 2 other ideas, or the videos are going to become less and less on that channel because I don't have a lot of ideas left. Because all I do is mix. I'm not going to bring in bands. We're not going to record. That's not going to happen. I can't do that here. So aside from mixing and the gear that I have, there's not much else to really show you guys. We'll do 2 more hybrid mixing courses next year. The hybrid mixing courses were very, very popular. And again, you can get them at 50% off right now. And my goal was to do 2 this year. And if they sold well and if people wanted them, I would do 2 more next year in different styles of music. Next year, we'll probably do an R&B track and maybe like a hard rock metal track, because we've already done pop. We've already done acoustic rock. Now we're going to go more R&B or more pop R&B. And then we're going to go maybe more hardcore, not thrash, not death metal, but we're going to go heavy metal for sure. So that'll happen next year, but those are courses. Those are not going to be YouTube content. So the YouTube content for Mixing Music Analog in 2024 will probably slow down because it's just not enough for me to do. Unless, like I said, unless you guys really dig the mixing stuff and the POV stuff, then I'll do those because those are fun. There's no talking. It's just you guys kind of watching me do 30-minute mix challenges where I mix a whole song or get it up on the console and throw a quick mix together and show you what I'm doing. But again, I don't know how many of those you guys are going to want to watch. We'll see. We'll see. And that'll be it. So anyway, I'm going to head off now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. Have a happy and safe Labor Day. Thank you in advance for purchasing the courses, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Bye, everybody.